times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Shop now for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert, John Party, and more. Line dancing, live DJs, mechanical bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. It's the perfect Valentine's gift. Surprise them with live country music and dancing. Country in the Park, May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblit Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Center and Hilton Sacramento. For more info, visit CITPFest.com.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now during our President's Day sales event. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Come celebrate at Stockton Honda and get huge savings on our giant selection. Plus top dollar for your trade.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revibe Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revibe today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revibe Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
KHD 1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports, 1140.
This is the Drive, baby!
The Drive Guys, Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles. It's drive time with the Drive Guys.
We're inside 24 hours now. Trade deadline almost here. Things are happening, Alan. Things are popping. We have an assortment of experts assembled to join us today who hopefully can help us understand what the heck is going on. Brett Siegel at 3, Doug Smith from the Toronto Star at 3:45, Keith Smith from Spot Track at 4, and then we have Jerry Reynolds at 5. Alan, how about this big Memphis-Utah deal that could have a direct impact on what the Kings were able to do at the deadline?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I think a lot of us thought that this was going to be a very boring trade deadline.
It's starting to look that way.
I even said this might be one of the worst trade deadlines in the history of the NBA, and now I am walking that back because just like that, a lot of people are, you talk about those impulse buys or impulse moves, a lot of teams are making moves and trying to figure out a way to either set themselves up for success right now or success in the future. And the Kings, with this conversation from Sam Amick, he was on the Athletic NBA Daily Show talking about how, and he put out a article, Jakob Poeltl. Nobody wants the Jakob Poeltl contract besides maybe a lesser team that will just take on the salary, and they're good with it because they have different goals. And all of a sudden now the Grizzlies may be a suitor for that. But it's not just that conversation. The Ja Morant conversation, we have traded in the JK. Kuminga watch has died. So Ja watch can live.
Why?
And it's back.
Why?
And I will be consistent. I'm not going to switch up now because that's not what I do, okay? That's not how my parents raised me. I did not want Ja Morant. I do not want Ja Morant.
Okay.
But since we are here now, am I intrigued by the idea?
Why?
I'm intrigued by the idea of whether or not the Kings can contain themselves. That's what I'm intrigued by. And it's also based on how low the price tag gets. I don't want Ja Morant on this team. We can keep it in between the lines. The brother can't shoot. The brother's losing athletic ability. And the brother is not on the court very often. But if it gets to a point where it's a couple bad contracts, if it's DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk or something like that for Ja Morant, you have to ask yourself, why not?
Well, I am not going to ask myself that until and unless something else happens, because there's so many things actually going on that I don't have the energy to waste on this very speculative Ja Morant talk. This is from The Athletic, and this may be Sam who wrote this. I apologize. I'm not sure. Kings consistently mentioned as one of the few teams, if not the only one, that might decide to get in the Morant business before the deadline. As of today, I can relay per team sources that they still have not completely closed the door on that idea. That being said, Alan.
That was Sam.
The percentage chance of this actually happening was placed in the low single digits when I inquired about it pre-Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. So all the things that are actually going on, I'm not going to waste time obsessing over the minuscule chance that Ja comes here.
Hold on. What was that last line that you read?
That being said, the percentage chance of this actually happening was placed in the low single digits, blah, 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 blah.
No.
There was something else that's on it for it.
Pre-Jaren Jackson trade.
Right.
So if Pirtle is in the mix and the Grizzlies are willing to take on that contract, we're going to talk to Brett Siegel about that in about an hour here. I think it's not going to go away. And again, I wanted Trae Young more than Ja if you were going to do the let's get the refurbished point guard thing. That's what I wanted. That ship has sailed. Thought the Kings were not going to go in this direction. They have never straight up said no to Ja, and I think it's because they are looking at this believing that the price tag could get low enough. You know what is funny, though, Whitey, and I do trust everything that the Kings are doing. I want to trust Scott Perry, but it is funny that they do find themselves in conversations that nobody else is in.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The only one after Kuminga on a serious level. The only one after Ja Morant now on a fairly serious level. And you start thinking either they're geniuses or they might be reading
the other
this
thing I don't like
way.
along those same lines, Alan, is were you not a little surprised the Anthony Vucevic trade? Didn't that surprise you a little bit?
Yeah.
Because we hadn't heard about it, right?
Yeah.
Or even Jaden Ivey, the herder, we hadn't heard about it, right?
Yeah.
Every possible move the Kings could possibly make, we've heard about.
Normally.
I don't like that.
Normally, but I think you should like that because.
I don't.
I used to, I was talking to someone within the industry and they said, whenever you hear about something a good bit, a lot of times it doesn't happen. You know, and these articles that get written, a lot of times they're prefaced as this was a deal that was discussed, right? Try to think off the top of your head the last time there was a trade that hung around, besides Westbrook, obviously, but a trade that, or a move that hung around. We knew Kevin Durant was going to leave. We knew it was going to be one of the two teams, the Rockets or whoever the other team was. But most of the time, they do come like a thief in the night, not like this, right?
That's how Jeff Petrie used to operate.
Right. So the idea that we've been hearing about, not Ja this whole time, but Kuminga this whole time, and nothing ever happened, it should make you feel better, the fact that you're hearing about Ja, because based on these rules, it ain't going to happen.
Well, we've been hearing it. Right. I understand that. But what I don't like about it is it almost seems like somebody in the organization is so desperate just to get out there that the Kings are in on this guy, Kings are in on that guy. And that's been going on since 2013 at least. Every time a player has been available, when the Kings were looking to add, then there'd be some report the Kings are in on so-and-so.
So do you think it's about whether they're actually in on them or not, or the idea of being a part of the because the Heat do this too. The Heat, their name is always out there, but they never do anything.
I take the organizations a little more seriously that don't talk about it and just do it, frankly.
No, I hear you. It's like Zillow. Right? If you're on Zillow, a lot of times if you bought a house.
Did Zillow get traded today too?
They could.
Okay.
It could to rent.com or whatever, apartments.com. But on Zillow, a lot of times, because I remember this from when we got our spot, by the time a spot is on Zillow, if it's in a hot market, by the way, Whitey, I was watching House Hunters. We were joking about it. Everywhere is a hot market. They're in Buffalo. Hot market.
Right.
Doesn't matter where they are.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere is a hot market, right? once a house is on Zillow, a lot of times if it is actually in a hot market, it's too late. If you're browsing through Zillow and you find a house and it's available, it's probably not in a super desirable market. So I say that because it's the same thing with these trades. If you're hearing about this Ja Morant thing and it's hanging around, chances are there's something off about it or it ain't going to happen, because all these deals that we just saw, they never made it to Zillow. They just happened.
Except I would say there's an exception, though, and you mentioned the Russ deal, when it's nobody else but the Kings. When the reports are there's one team interested in this guy, then sometimes it does happen.
Yeah, I
and
hear
maybe
ya.
it shouldn't.
Well, yeah, and Russ at least was a free agent.
Yeah, that's true.
Different than a trade.
Are you suggesting, by the way, and I'm not calling you out, I'm not coming after you, are you suggesting that somehow Ja from the Grizzlies to the Kings could get folded into this whole Pirtle, Memphis being a facilitator in the Sabonis to Toronto deal?
I don't know, because the conversation about the 20-something-year-olds, right? The 25 to 28-year-olds, and that version of a hybrid rebuild, second draft tryout, whatever you want to call it.
Ja the Avenger. I don't know.
He is a Avenger.
You don't know Inu-san.
He is a Avenger. So, look, man. And somebody said we need to trade in the Avengers. We need a name for Scott Perry. Somebody said the Perry Rangers. So we're trying to think of names. Nothing's going to beat the
Perry
Avengers.
Winkles.
The Perry Rain. I think that was the play on it. Nothing. By the way, nothing's going to beat the Avengers.
No,
so
probably not.
I don't think if you can come up with something more witty for Scott Perry than the Avengers, oh my goodness, we'll give you 10 minutes on the show, because according to Matt and Kayla, we're not doing any of the show anyway, just because we got high level guests. It's the big show. But when you look at the 25 to 28-year-olds and what they're doing, my question is, I mean, Whitey, that would be speaking of the Avengers, the funniest Avengers ever. Remember a couple years ago when we talked about there was a team, I think it was the Knicks, the weirdest big three ever, the most average super team ever. It would be very confusing, because you would have, I think you'd still have RJ Barrett, right? So you'd have, I think, so RJ, Ja, Keegan, let's say DeAndre goes in it, because it just doesn't really make a lot of sense at this point. Or DeAndre staying, and then you got the Bean Boy.
You're right.
It would be so random.
How would Ja fit into that? I know some people here in the chat are pointing out things like this. Terrence Cole, if you could get him, Ja, for either DeMar or Zach, and a pick, you got to be crazy not to do that deal. Okay, the pick is a key to that, and I don't know if you would get that. But if you did, all right. But even if you did that, what are you going to do with this team? How are you rebuilding?
Don't know. By the way, I don't know, sometimes the Wi-Fi, there it goes, because it said bad gateway. I thought SpotTrack crashed from everybody just looking up stuff. Here's the issue, if you want to call it that, with Ja. And maybe some people will be turned on to it versus off. Ja, including this year, has 3 more years left on his deal.
By the way, he came out yesterday, or it was reported yesterday, or was it this morning, I guess? He has no interest. If he came to Sacramento, he would have no interest in re-upping.
Okay, well, you're here for 2 years, right? And maybe we could change your mind.
Fair enough.
So and it's like, Ja, enough, right? You're not, you don't have that type of pull right now, Ja. You need to just stop. So this season, $39.4 million. Next season, $42.1. Season after that, $44.8. So 2 more years.
It's a bad contract. Why do you want it? Why do you want a bad contract?
Yeah, maybe
He's not as good as he was.
No. I don't want him. It just, to me, the commitment isn't that big from a year perspective. The money is a lot of money, but a year perspective.
But what are you committing to in your mind? The chance that he finds it again, or?
It's a good question.
I mean, he's just not the player he was. Yeah. Understandably. Put all the off-court stuff aside. That matters more to a lot of other people than it does to me. I'm just looking at Ja, the basketball player.
Yeah.
And especially if I'm in rebuild mode. And by the way, the Utah Jazz got a head start on me with their rebuild, and it looks like now they're thinking, all right, we're going to get our first-round pick this year. We'll take enough to retain that. And then next year, we're actually going to try to be good. So they're coming out of rebuild mode. And the Memphis Grizzlies are giving a master class on how to do it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm just double checking here to see if it would to see if it would work. I mean, I'm going to assume you wouldn't do Ja for
refrigerator Perry's.
I'm going to assume you would not do Ja for Zach LaVine, right? You wouldn't do that.
What am I saving? I'm saving a little bit of money, right? I mean, I probably wouldn't. I understand why you'd think about it, but
let me ask you this then.
Because Zach doesn't want to be here, right? Well, Ja ain't going to be
no.
woohoo!
Well, he's already here.
Let's go to Old Town.
Well, sorry, brother. You know, if you had more, what did Mike Dunleavy Jr. said? For there to be a trade demand, there has to be a demand on the market.
I'm just saying, I want to move Zach because he doesn't want to be here. But to move for a guy who doesn't want to be here either, I just don't know what I'm really gaining.
I got to be careful what I say here. I would trust Ja as a competitor to put forth the effort that is needed, even if he doesn't want to be here.
Alan, I want volunteers, not hostages.
I hear you. But look, in a small market, sometimes you got to blur those lines. Would you do this, Whitey? Because it works on Fanspo.
If I can get some kind of draft capital back, I'm considering it.
Would you do DeMar, Malik for Ja Morant and a protected first? You're doing that.
I'd have to consider that.
You're doing that.
Depending
Let's
on the protections,
do it.
But yeah.
Turn it up, baby.
But I'm doing it because that's the only way. It's not like, oh, yes, Ja. I'm doing it because I want the pick.
Yeah, then you're going to be sitting right next to me during a game, and Ja's going to do a 360 backflip dunk, and you're going to say, that was pretty slick, wasn't it, Al? I'm going to say, yeah, it was, Whitey. Yeah,
the only way Ja's going to do that anymore is if he joins Slamson on the trampoline between quarters.
Did you see that clip? Which I don't know what type of waiver they had to sign, but one of the arenas let the fans
really
do trampoline jumps. Not one person made the dunk. But my Achilles hurt just watching them. Just watching them.
Oh, I could see someone slamming into the glass. Yeah.
No one got that high.
Oh, really?
No one got close. Nobody got close. You know, Ja trampoline in his shoes, baby.
By the way, I do want to point out, you mentioned Malik. I want to point out that Malik, talking about his former teammates, said, backed up something that I'd said yesterday, which is, going to miss Schroeder, going to miss Keon. They were my teammates, but neither one of them wanted to be here. So there you go, Alan. That's part of the Keon mystery. He did not want to be here.
Did he? I saw it floating around, but are you taking it like that, though? Are you taking it like
when he says they did not want to be here?
You think that
How else would you take it?
Well, I'm just saying, you think it was a bit of a slip of the tongue, if you will?
No, Malik knows what he's doing. He just doesn't care. It's like, here's the truth. It may not make people happy, but I don't care. Okay. That's the beauty of Malik.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Okay, so I have it here from Jeremiah Salmonson, and shout out Jeremiah.
And I think Jeremiah even tweeted, well, that would explain some things.
Here's the quote.
Yeah.
Man, this is Malik. Man, I hate seeing anybody that I'm close friends with go. But obviously it was on. They wanted to go. And I feel like the team, Scott, thought it was best for us to let them go. And yeah, man, it sucks seeing all the guys go, especially, like I said, when you're close.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know when Keon decided that he wanted to go, and eventually we'll move on from it. It's only been a couple days. But if Keon decided, and I think you were kind of on this, Whitey, if Keon decided, okay, they picked up my option, just get me up out of it. I'm going to be a free agent. Now I'm going to be an unrestricted free agent. If I'm in Keon's camp, I'm saying, I'm hyping them up. Man, they picked up your option? They're going to let you be an unrestricted free agent? You Ellis Island. We out of here, bro.
Yeah.
And maybe they said, hey, get me up out of here. And that's what they did. And maybe that affected, I know he was going to be a free agent anyway, could have also affected some of the trade conversations. If, again, Zillow, you don't hear about everything, maybe across the league they knew that Keon did not want to. There was no way. The Kings had zero leverage.
Exactly. Brett Siegel at 3, as we said. And right now we're like probably you keep an eye on what may happen, what may or may not happen between the Kings and the Raptors and Domantas Sabonis. I've been of the feeling that it's probably not going to happen, but it does look like they're working on it. I think it's going to just come down to whether Memphis is going to be the angel to come out of the heavens here and go, we'll fix this for you. Because that's where it was. It was stuck. What about Pirtle? We need somebody else to take on Pirtle. Memphis could do that. The reporting to me is a little vague. Memphis certainly could do that, but do they have any interest in doing that? I'm not sure.
Right, because as of this morning, yeah, Sam was going back and forth as to whether or not this was going to happen. It more so sounded like it would be revisited in the offseason, which would make sense. You got Domantas Sabonis at that point, a pure 2 years left on the deal. So things have changed. We're just trying to figure out how much, and it'll be a couple hours now since this news broke. So I would assume Brett Siegel's been working the phones. One of the only people out there that work the phones more than me and Scott Perry. I'll tell you that much, Brett Siegel. So we'll find out kind of more from there. I wanted to ask though, how thirsty are you to move off of Domantas Sabonis? Because in crosstalk, Matt sounded thirsty to get off of Domantas Sabonis' contract, and I'm not that thirsty to get off of Domantas Sabonis'
I'm not
contract.
either. Like when we talked about it last week, like I told you, I at that point needed 2 firsts to do that.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't get 2 firsts, okay, fine. Now I'm like, maybe I'd take a first, but I'm in no hurry to do it. And if I don't get a first, at least a first that I really like, I just don't want to do that.
Yeah. I'm just not necessarily in that position right now. You can get to the offseason. Look, and I get it. I think there's some people that feel that way because they want it to be not a question as to whether or not you have to restart, going back to the foundation conversation. If you move off of Domantas Sabonis, the hybrid rebuild is dead.
Right.
It's dead. Unless Maxime or Dylan take some crazy leap next season, it's dead for at least a couple years.
Yeah.
So I think that Domantas Sabonis might more so represent a double down or triple down, and moving on from him would more so represent, thank you, we're not going to be tempted to do anything that we shouldn't do.
If I'm Scott Perry, and this is just me talking, this could be totally unfair. Maybe I'm going to hear about this, but if I'm Scott Perry, I'm thinking, I want to move Sabonis before anybody else starts thinking maybe Alan Stiles is onto something. Once Domas is gone, that whole, like you said, just said, well, maybe we should get back into it next year. That is not an option anymore.
Look, man, it's a tough one for me because I joke about the hybrid rebuild, but doing our job, the idea of 3 years of just bad basketball, even if it's bad basketball for a reason, there are a lot of fans that aren't super juiced to watch that. So the hybrid rebuild, don't get it twisted, Whitey. There are a lot of fans out there that ride for the hybrid rebuild because it's been so rough in Sacramento. They would rather mess around with an 8 seed than stink for 3 years for a chance to be the Rockets or something like that, which you're never going to have a promise that you are going to win a championship or anything like that. So there are a lot of people, there are a lot of fans that they rock with the hybrid rebuild. So I don't think it would be received as poorly as you think. It
certainly would be in some corners. Your friend Carmichael Dave would.
Yeah. Well, I think Matt, Dave, they all want the tank, the super tank.
TR the Star says Memphis won't take Chipotle because they have Zach Edey. But Zach Edey's been hurt also. And it's not a matter of taking Pirtle because they actually would want to play him. No, they don't. But that's the problem. You could see Memphis with all these. Hold on. We got draft picks. I got to pick up all these draft picks. What do they have? 13 now over the next 7 years. I can see them going, all right, Toronto, Sacramento, you need us to take Pirtle, fine. We need a first. We don't care who we get it from, but we need a first.
Right.
Toronto would say, we're already sending one to Sacramento. We don't have another one. Kings are certainly not going to give up a first. Right? So that's a big Pirtle hurdle.
I don't know if the Grizzlies, I don't know if there's anything else that they could do. If it's a first and a
second, as I know some people have discussed, I know we talked about it with Matt, and if Toronto says we'll give Memphis a first and the Kings are like, all right, we'll throw in a second, if that would give us a first and RJ Barrett and all that, then I think you'd have to consider that.
Well, early on when we had that conversation, a first was not mentioned going to Sacramento. It was strictly Agbaji and Barrett. That's when I said no. If you're getting Agbaji, Barrett, and a first, then I would give a second to Grizzlies or whoever. But just those two players, like I said, I'm not that parched to move off of Domantas Sabonis' contract right now.
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. And I know that the best GMs and teams, they don't really care so much about what fans think. But it is important here, maybe more important because that relationship has been tattered over the years between the organization and fans. But if you were to do something like Domas for some veterans or, youngish veterans, fans would wonder, what are we doing? We didn't get any draft capital back for Domantas Sabonis, and we're rebuilding? What's going on?
Yeah, we had to send out draft capital for Keon, and we didn't get anything back besides 2 players that were hoping take a leap. You know what else is funny? Whitey, when I was reading off what that team would be, because when I was reading off we need a nickname for the 27-year-old team, the just average age 27. When I was reading them off, RJ Barrett, Ochai Agbaji, Keegan Murray, DeAndre Hunter, a draft pick, and then I had the Bean Boys. I didn't even include Zach LaVine there, and I'm just assuming DeMar is going to move on. Whitey, I know Keegan's a little bit bigger, and DeAndre Hunter, but it feels like another logjam of a bunch of 6'5" guys. And somebody responded saying, hey, at least the logjam's a little taller now.
Right.
Agbaji's 6'5", Zach LaVine is about 6'5", RJ Barrett's about 6'5", just a shooting go. And you still have Malik Monk on the team. So now you just got a little bit, your average height is bigger, but
still small by NBA standards.
Right. So I don't even know if that team makes sense from a construction standpoint.
It doesn't appear to. So that's why, Alan, sometimes you got to wait and see. What's next?
Let's go. No.
Sometimes you just got to do that.
Now I'm turning my mic off.
Let's see. Are the Jazz no longer tanking? That's a great question from Ryan. They're currently 6th. Their pick is top 8 protected. Exactly, Ryan. That's what I've been wondering about. I can't imagine. I know they got Jaren Jackson Jr., and they're talking about pairing him with Kessler, but I can't imagine they're serious about winning their way out of their top pick this year. They've got... So I think they're going to find ways to sit guys, whatever it's going to take. Last year they just blatantly sat people and got fined for it.
Yeah.
Why is he not playing? Because we don't want to play him.
Yeah.
You're fined. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So I think they're getting ready to come out of the tank mode, but I think they're still in tank mode for the rest of this year.
Yeah. And look, the fact that the Jazz want to move on, they said that early on. Some people didn't believe them. I really didn't believe them, but they said this is the last season. We want to be tanking. Now I believe them. It does provide, as much as I don't necessarily want to watch it, and I feel bad for some of the Kings fans that would have to watch it. Not everybody can compete, Whitey. And if the Jazz are now saying, okay, we're leaving, it's like a playpen, right? It's just the tank playpen. And the Jazz are saying, Mom's coming to pick me up. We're about to leave the tank playpen. So who's left in it now? The Kings are just getting dropped off in the tank playpen. Just stay. Because you don't really have that many teams to battle with, right? Who else in the West is out really tanking right now? Them, the Pelicans. I don't really know who else off the top of my head.
It's amazing if you go back to the Luka draft, and I saw someone pointing out that one of the only lottery picks, I forget how far down they go, but Miles Bridges is with the team that drafted him. Everybody else has been traded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was it Jason Ross posted that?
Did he?
I saw, yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Ayton, Bagley, of course.
The whole crew.
Trey, Luka, Jaren Jackson Jr.
I think SGA was a name that he brought up too.
I don't think he was in that draft. Was he?
I'm check J. Ross. I'm going to check J. Ross. But, yeah, you never know how this stuff is going to end up. And I don't know. Somehow that might even be somewhere out there. Somebody is smiling talking about a hybrid rebuild here. He says, with today's Jaren Jackson Jr. trade, every single lottery pick from a very successful 2018 draft has been traded. That includes Luka, Trey, SGA, Mikal Bridges, Michael Porter Jr., Ayton, and now Jaren Jackson Jr. Crazy. It was a good run, though. Sustained success out there in Memphis. That's what you wanted.
Yeah, when we come back, why did the Kings trade a player who is zeroing in on an all-time NBA record? And, of course, we are on Trade Watch. Trades have already happened today. The next one could happen at any second. We're all over it today. With your help, Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sactown Sports.
Oh, my, what an athletic move that time by Malik Monk.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Malik Monk, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. King's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
You remember me from a show called And Joe? I'm back on the radio, Sacramento. It's Joe Mami, and when you need your new country fix, join me weekdays from 6A to 10 for the Pat and Cody with Joe show on New Country 105.1 KNCI or on the free KNCI app.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex decking and railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, inviting you to come join them every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. It's a safe and friendly environment, plenty of well-lit parking available, and it's conveniently located right there in downtown Sacramento. And remember, best food, best service, best games, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Live and local, it's The Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
We mentioned that among our stellar guests today, Brett Siegel, National NBA reporter for Clutch Points, he has promoted his upcoming appearance on social media, and he is anticipating an explosive appearance.
Yeah, he went ahead and said, I'm paraphrasing here, we might even break a trade on the air. He said lots to talk about regarding the Kings in the next move. He said we might even break a trade on the air. Now, that's at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, it's at 3 o'clock, and of course, if you miss it, we'll cut it. It'll be on YouTube, the Sactown Sports app, the newly redone Sactown Sports app, by the way, the TuneIn app. So you can catch that if you're running around picking up the iguana at the vet, whatever the case may be. But live at 3 p.m. And then we'll have Keith Smith on to also discuss at 4 o'clock what trades may or may not happen still, and more of the financials, but Keith is starting to expand. They did a deal, SpotTrack did, with the NBA, so he's been kind of growing. And Keith got some sources too, Whitey. Everybody's phone's blowing off the hook. So this is, as you can tell, I know I said this last week, one of the biggest shows that we've had since I've joined.
What's wrong with the iguana? Why that? I didn't hear anything you said. You said you've picking up the iguana at the bed. What happened? Is the iguana okay?
I don't know. I'm just saying somebody's got an iguana. I had a pet salamander back in the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Found them in my friend's pool.
Oh.
Sally.
Mm-hmm. Sally. You probably had no idea whether it was a female or male,
No clue.
Right? Yeah.
No clue. And I didn't know what to feed them. And lasted about, in my mind, I had Sally for probably a month. It was more so a week.
Yeah.
In reality.
Yeah.
Shout out salamanders.
Yeah.
We went to the reptile convention real quick.
I've been to that.
A couple months ago. I think it was in, not Roseville, maybe Elk Grove. Fun time. Great time. Great time.
Yeah, well, I ask about the iguanas because the iguanas in Florida, they're freezing up.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I've heard of people like they put them in their car and then they start driving away, have the heater on, and then as they're driving, the iguanas start
thawing out.
Yeah.
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 Well, hey, the trade market has thawed out.
It appears to be, Alan. It appears to be. Before the show, early in the morning, whenever we do it, I don't know about you, but I jot down a few questions for the people that we're going to expect to be talking to. And I'm looking at these questions I prepared earlier today. It's like, none of these questions make sense anymore. Too much has happened.
Yeah, you got to refresh
You got to throw everything out the window.
That's right. We just got to go off the top of the dome. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have this from Japanese Dog. He saw Darren Peterson last night. Watching Kansas play, I envisioned what Darren Peterson would look like playing with a passing big like Sabonis.
See? What did I tell you?
I don't know.
What did I tell you?
What did you tell me?
I'm just saying, a lot of people are going to say, why don't you just add a top pick? This is, you know what this is? Obviously, a different situation has happened, and this wasn't, I don't believe, Nico Harrison's plan. But in theory, this is essentially what the Mavericks thought could happen if you got Kyrie back. I don't know when. I guess Kyrie's coming back after the All-Star break, but you got Kyrie. Anthony Davis is kind of rolling, and Cooper Flagg does seem to be a player ready to go right now. Maybe you could mess around and have a nice run. I don't think anybody would. There were some people out there saying, who knows, the Mavericks might be able to luck into some things. The problem was you hit on Cooper Flagg, but the other two things, Kyrie just not around yet, and Anthony Davis couldn't stay healthy. But it's a poor man's version of that if you were to add Darren Peterson to whatever exactly it is that the Kings have right now.
How about this one? If the deal is bad, I'd rather keep Sabonis if the headlines say Kings fleeced by Raptors and then mocked by Charles Barkley with the laugh emoji. Did you see Charles Barkley react to the Hunter trade Saturday?
Yes. So I don't know what the heck Sacramento's doing.
But he had nothing.
No.
Because Kenny Smith, former Sacramento King, asked him, what don't you like about the deal from Sacramento's standpoint? He's like, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I would never go to Sacramento. They're irrelevant.
Well, it's a trade, so.
Yeah, that doesn't. So, again, it's just an example of how when the Kings do something, a lot of people are, without even thinking about it, going to leap to Sacramento has no clue what they're doing.
Right. It's funny because it's something that I've thought about before with singers, also with comedians, right? Sometimes, like Dave Chappelle had a new special not too long ago, and sometimes I find myself, when you watch some of these specials, and you think to yourself, am I laughing because it's a funny joke, or am I laughing because it's Dave Chappelle, and Dave Chappelle is Dave Chappelle? When whatever artist puts out a new song, do I like this song because it's a good song, or because this person's very popular? And it's the opposite with Sacramento. Do I hate this deal because it's a bad deal? Or do I hate this deal because Sacramento made the deal and I hate everything? I've been programmed to hate everything Sacramento does.
Yeah, I heard a story once about, it was Paul McCartney. And when the Beatles were great, everyone said, everything he writes, people love it because it's the Beatles. So he wrote a song for somebody else and didn't tell anybody he wrote it, and it still did really well.
See?
He's like,
that's actually pretty cool. Because I thought about that before, Drake or whoever it is puts out a song and it number one on the charts. It could sound like garbage, but it is who it is.
Yeah. Why did the Kings, Alan, trade a player who is zeroing in on an all-time NBA record? Can you imagine that? Right now, the record for most franchises played for belongs to Joe Smith, Chucky Brown, Jim Jackson, Kevin Ollie, Tony Massenberg. Each of those played for 12 different teams. Schroeder now, this is his 11th different team.
I saw the beginning of his going away, but it was, I don't know, over 3 minutes, so I didn't need to see all of it. But he was just talking about, his family is with him on all these trips, or that's, what he said. It's not as if, some people have home base, but I think he's moved so much. Where would his home base be? It's not the same as Dame, for example. I think a big thing with Dame when he went to Milwaukee was, well, my family is staying in Portland because they're all established in Portland, and now I got to go to Milwaukee. I wasn't going to uproot them. A lot of players do different things, but Dennis Schroeder has moved so much, I don't know where their home base would be.
I know, but Alan, this has got to be getting a little ridiculous for him, doesn't it? Because he comes here, and we're giving you the keys, and you're the guy, and we love the way you played in Eurobasket. And then, oh, yeah, by the way, Russell Westbrook's coming. So he gets traded to Cleveland, and then what happens? Oh, James Harden might be joining us.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on there. I don't know. And a lot of people were after, because it was very confusing because I saw.
A few hours ago, that was the big story.
Yeah.
Now that's like,
Right. Well, because what was the story? That was one of your favorite word salads. It was, they're working.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden wants out. It's almost as if Shams was telling other teams, not us. I mean, okay, right? And then people are saying James Harden always kind of quits on his team or whatever. I do think the timing is odd. But James Harden's probably looking at it and say, all right, what exactly is going to happen here? Are we just going to lose in the second round? I don't really see us winning the whole thing. So James Harden going to James Harden. That's just what it is.
By the way, as I looked at this list, the players who've played for a record 12 different teams, Joe Smith never played for the Kings. I believe Chucky Brown did, Jim Jackson did, Kevin Ollie did, and Tony Massenberg did.
Okay.
They're all at one time. Sacramento Kings.
It's just part of the, you got to hit every single color palette, and that's what Schroeder's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder who's left for him. It doesn't matter now. But
what, the teams?
Yeah, the teams that are left. Because he's going to, if I'm him, if that's going to have to be my legacy, then I want to do it.
You know, if you look at his numbers, which we do a lot when we're talking about players that we don't see a lot, what about so-and-so? I don't know. Let me look it up. Oh, he's pretty good. If you just look up Dennis Schroeder's numbers, you'd say he's having a pretty good year this year.
Mm-hmm.
But those of us who saw him know that, he wasn't very good, especially at the beginning of the year.
Right. Well, it felt like he would go through, it was very weird, but it felt like he would go through phases where he almost knew that he had to put up his numbers in a certain regard, right? Like, it almost felt like, it's been a couple days or a couple games and I haven't scored a lot. So this game, I'm going to make sure that I get mine. So I do think his numbers look better than what we saw because what he didn't feel organic, if I'm being honest. It felt as if, hey, well, I haven't had a game with 15 points in a while, so I'm going to make sure I go get 15 points. And when you're on a bad team, you can do stuff like that.
Ellen, I don't know if you saw this in a sidebar here. Amadrock saying some nice things, TR the Star. We appreciate that. We really do. About that time, 2024 says, I'm a big Alan Stiles fan. Mm-hmm. I'm also a big Kevin Gleason fan. Having said that, I can't be the only one picking up some weird vibes. Just saying.
What kind of vibes?
I don't know. I think because it's in reference to some people saying, oh, I love the show. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been a couple weeks, so maybe they, are waiting for the trade to heat up so they haven't heard the new version of the drive time. Maybe that's what it is. It's obviously, I'm no Draper. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm no Draper because, I'm more entertaining. So maybe they're not used to, they're also, Whitey, they're not used to two people being on the show. So they might be obviously Jay back there, but that might be what they're confused about. Shout out Draper.
Yeah. I can honestly tell you, as far as I'm concerned, there ain't no weird vibes.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
Now you kind of hesitated there, and that's fine. That's your right.
You always got something to say. And I've been meaning to have this out. I'm kidding. Now it's weird.
Yeah, it is. But thank you for the
shout out about that time
for the kind words. We're gonna come back with a look at what may or may not be going on with the Kings. Also, Alan, did you see how Reggie Miller kind of botches his Caitlin Clark comp? We'll talk about that when we come back to Sactown Sports. Weird vibes are not.
The 10th Annual Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame celebration is Thursday, February 5th at the Golden One Center. Inducting the class of 2026, plus honoring all of our past inductees. See Sacramento's 50 greatest athletes of all time.
This is Bill Cartwright.
This is Jerry Royster.
This is Tony the Tiger Lopez.
This is Dusty Baker, proud member of the Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame. Join us Thursday, February the 5th at the Golden One Center for Sacramento's best sports night of the year.
Get your tickets now at SacSportsHOF.com.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
The Travel Guys, new on KHTK 1140 every Saturday at 11 a.m.
We'll make you a smarter traveler. Tips you can use on the road and at the airport, plus reports from top consumer advocates.
The Travel Guys, 11 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's President's Day sale time at Big O Tires. Now through February 22nd, buy 3 tires, get 1 free on 4 select in-stock Big O brand tires with installation purchase. Plus, you'll get our industry-leading ProTech Plus warranty for free. Disposal fees extra that go with other offers. See Big O dealer for pricing.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Granger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Finding excuses to not do your taxes? Unsure where to start? Sounds like you may be suffering from FOMO, the fear of messing up. The cure? Filing your federal and state taxes for free using TurboTax on Credit Karma. All you have to do is start and finish filing on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Just keep in mind, this offer is available only if you didn't file with TurboTax last year. It's time to break free from your fear of messing up. Start filing for free today in the Credit Karma app.
Join Sactown Sports downtown before every Kings game and pick up an InShape Fitness Kings Rally towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
NBA fans don't just watch the game, they live it. So stream like you're courtside with NBA League Pass, your ticket to all the action. Watch your favorite team shine and catch the league's brightest stars and rising stars at the same time with multi-view on your favorite devices. From the plays you can't believe to the most live games and the drama that comes with it. If it happens on the court, it's happening on NBA League Pass.
Only select out-of-market games available. Blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
Download the app and listen to The Drive Guys.
The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
On Sactown Sports 1140.
Need to make a correction here, and this is on me. Yeah, the source was wrong, but I'm the one that looked it up and then shared it. As far as the record for the most franchises that someone has played for, Ish Smith has played for 13 teams.
I do remember.
Yeah. While Chucky Brown, Jim Jackson, Tony Massenberg, Joe Smith are notable players who played for 12 teams, but Ramsey came up with another former King who's played for 12 teams, right, Ramsey?
Yes, I did. The one, the only now current Toronto Raptor, Garrett Temple, has played for 12 teams, including a couple of stints with the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, so Dennis Schroeder is a little further from that record than I realized.
He got time.
Mm-hmm.
He's got time, and he's getting paid.
Yeah, and because you're so popular, Alan, Ryan says Dennis Schroeder got traded to the Kings. No, I'm sorry. Somebody came up with all the there it is. Director of Rec 44, pardon me. Teams Dennis Schroeder has not played for. You were wondering, Hornets, Bulls, Pacers, Heat, Bucks, Knicks, Magic, Sixers, Wizards, Mavs, Nuggets, Clippers, Grizzlies, T-Wolves, Pelicans, Suns, Blazers, and Spurs.
Wow,
because
thank you.
You asked for it.
Thank you, Director. We appreciate that. No, he's going to hit the Wizards. He's hitting the Wizards. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't know if he gets back to the West, but he's hitting the Wizards for sure. He's got a couple more, and he's got to hit the Bulls.
Yeah, and Ryan Coda, I was going to read what he wrote. Dennis Schroeder got traded to the Kings, didn't win a championship, punched a Laker. So obviously he will become a radio host at KHTK in about 10 years and then become an assistant coach of the Kings. And maybe the head coach, right?
Yeah,
Ryan?
that's how it's been.
He's on that track.
That's right.
On that career track.
Wow, careful.
Uh-huh. So, we're talking to Brett Siegel at 3, and Brett Siegel is the one who on social media said that when he comes on our show, he may break a trade live.
Yeah.
I don't think he's sitting on one, and we're not suggesting.
Well, hold on. I think it was a trade might break
exactly.
live.
Exactly.
If he breaks a trade live on the show, oh my goodness, you're not going to be able to tell me nothing for the rest of the week. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. What did you think? We didn't talk about it yesterday, but Sunday night basketball debuted. Reggie Miller was talking to Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark was part of the panel, so they were welcoming her, and she was terrific. But they did some comps, some NBA comps for Caitlin Clark, and Reggie Miller said Peyton Pritchard, and Caitlin Clark didn't like it very much.
No, it did not. She gave me everybody.
Is that an air ball?
Yeah, you get a look like that. It's not going to end well for you. I'll just say this: can we not do the comparison thing? I feel as if it's never going to end well.
Sure, but if you're going to do it, at least make sure
just highball it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Ramsey has. Let me know when you have that, Ramsey. Here's Reggie Miller with his Caitlin Clark NBA comp.
But listen, there's a new shooter from Indiana. I'm the third best shooter in the state of Indiana now. Okay. It goes Caitlin, Tyrese, and now myself.
We'll have to get Tyrese's opinion on that. I'm not sure Tyrese would agree.
Right here. She's taking over for me right now, so thank you.
Okay, anyway, that was before he made the Peyton Pritchard comp. I think what he was trying to do was say, if she were playing in the league right now, if she were in the league, Caitlin Clark, this person right here, were in the NBA, she'd be most like Peyton Pritchard. I think that's what he was trying to say.
I don't know, man. Just stay away. If I was doing that interview, I would
just say Larry Bird.
I'm just going to say Larry and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
I'm saying Larry. I'm saying not Peyton, not a bench warmer. How about that? I would start with a starter. I would start with a starter. That's where I would start.
Do you want to hear what he actually said?
Sure.
Okay. Reggie.
I like Peyton Pritchard from Boston, the way he's able to handle the basketball. He makes big shots when the shot clock's running down, a lot like this young lady right here. Isn't afraid of the big moment and is a champion like she's soon to be.
What about you, Melo?
I mean, to me, she nailed it. It would be Luka for me. The way that you're able to play in that open court, to see the vision that you have, to be able to shoot.
Thank you, Ramsey. Yeah. So Carmelo Anthony knows what he's doing.
Yeah, just say a top 5 player and get the heck out the way. Because you do some of these interviews and things like that. I would imagine they weren't just freestyling. Reggie knew that was going to be brought up. I would venture. So that means he either ignored it.
Yeah, they don't do a lot of like, hey, let's just do some improv out here.
Right. So either he wasn't paying attention and wasn't prepared, or he's tripping.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
Campio says that Caitlin was wanting a Reggie Miller comparison. Amadrock says Reggie Miller's chain fell off his bike with that take.
Yeah, it was a rough go for Reg. Come on, Reg. Sometimes you just got to take the layup. Just take the layup and just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So that was Sunday. That's unfortunate. But it's a play on. No harm, no foul.
Okay. Yeah.
Speaking of all the trade ramifications here, what do you make of the report that Draymond Green may be on the table for your Warriors?
Yeah, overdue. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. That's what it is for Draymond right now. And I love how it was breaking news that Draymond is being included in trade talks. And I've always said this, and I'm curious your thoughts, because our friend Bonte Hill, he hit me with the Swaggy P Nick Young meme when I said something over the weekend. And what I said was Draymond likes to come off like he's very self-aware, right? At least that's how he tries to sound on the podcast.
Bonte and Draymond got into it once.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember vividly.
On TV, yeah.
Yeah. And basically the idea that the Warriors would be better if they were to get Giannis, but they would have to include Draymond. Do you think Draymond would be self-aware enough to not necessarily green-light it or red-light it because he doesn't have a choice, but would be understanding to say, hey, Steph is trying to get number 5. I get it. Giannis is on the way. Just try to get me to a contender. That's what it is. And Bonte hit me with the Swaggy P meme, essentially saying, I guess just saying Draymond would not feel like that. Some people were chiming in saying, no, I mean, self-aware or not, you're a hyper-competitor. But I don't know. I mean, if you're Draymond.
I don't think he would.
Yeah.
Although there is the chance for him to pull in a Aroldis Chapman and get traded, then be a free agent, then go back to the Yankees.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He could do
he would
that.
have that opportunity.
Right.
But I always thought one of the issues between Draymond and Durant was that, Draymond did a lot of the dirty work for those teams, the team that won in 2015, then they won the 73 games. And everyone said, oh, Clay and Steph, and they shoot the ball and it's so beautiful. And Draymond did all the dirty work. Then he had another guy come in and people said, oh, Clay and Steph and KD. And Draymond's like, oh, now I got to take a backseat to that guy.
Right.
So if that's true, I don't think he'd be happy to go, yeah, if that's what's best for the team, they're going to bring in somebody else, and I've never been appreciated for all I did for this team. Sure,
yeah.
Bring in Giannis. Yeah, go get him. You're my guys.
I felt like that went out the window. I mean, he's been in the room for Bob Myers threw him under the bus and said, hey, he's the one who wanted Moses Moody and Kuminga, not me. But I felt like a lot of that went out the window when they gave him the 4 years, $100 million, when a lot of people thought, why are you doing that at this time? Draymond has got a lot of gray in that beard. So I felt like that was the Warriors trying to say thank you, not necessarily sorry, but thank you. So because of that, I don't know, I felt like that cleared the deck on some of the stuff. And they let him punch someone and stay on the team. So.
Yeah, they did. They've been kind of an enabler for him for many, many years. Here's the issue with the Kings and your favorite topic these days, which is the hybrid rebuild. You know that to have a successful rebuild, at some point you got to find your guy. And I know you're probably thinking, and it could happen, that, the Kings will find their guy this year in the draft. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's, we talk about, Darren Peterson, maybe they get Darren Peterson. There is, assuming he's the first pick, they will have at best a 14% chance of getting him, which means an 86% chance that they won't get him. So that probably won't happen. But my point is, with all these trades, Sabonis out, maybe you bring in Ja, they're nowhere near having their guy. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to assume that they're going to, hit the jackpot in this lottery and get their guy and then be on their way, I mean, maybe, but it's very, very unlikely.
Well, that's my point was, what if it does look right? What if you are messing around and you're the Suns of this season? Then what decision do you make? If you are 9-10 seed, that's not a hybrid rebuild to me. I'm talking about a surprise where you think, maybe we should look at this a little bit differently.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, no matter how many games you're winning or whatever, you can look at your roster and know, is this a team we can get better with? You can't when you don't have your guy. And unless you get him in the draft, there's nobody on this team now. There's nobody we're talking about in trades that would be coming here who would be, R.J. Barrett, here we go. Nothing against him.
Well, I think that is the question as to why do the R.J. Barrett trade without a first rounder.
I agree.
What are you looking for R.J. Barrett to be for you, unless Scott Perry believes that he still has that star potential? And I think he would be, 25? I think I just looked it up. But I think Scott Perry would be not alone in that belief, but I don't think a lot of other people share that belief.
Yeah, you're right. He just turned 25 on – last June he turned 25. Yeah, but I think even in Toronto, when they got him from the Knicks, because what was he? He was the third pick? Yeah. The Raptors probably thought, all right, he could still find that level. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't. And he's been a nice player. Again, especially you look at the numbers like, it's a pretty good player. But one big part of any rebuild is finding your feature piece, the guy you're going to build around, and he's not it.
Well, again, because 2 years left on his deal, I think that's what next season is. Next season is you bring it, not Hunter because Hunter's 28, but you bring in RJ, you have Keegan, and no more excuses, right? Because you might still have Zach LaVine. And by the way, if you missed it, Zach LaVine, surprise, doesn't hate Sacramento enough to leave $49 million on the table. So you're going to have Zach LaVine, but I think it would just be a lesser role. He's trying to get out of here. So you have R.J. Barrett, Keegan Murray, and in my opinion, you're essentially having a tryout to see, are any of you going to take some sort of leap? And you would have your draft pick as well. So I think that's what next season is. And you're saying, R.J., green light. There's a Trey Murphy treatment. Keegan, Trey Murphy treatment. And you just see. I don't think it's going to happen, But you just see, is anybody going to take a crazy leap here?
Sure, I understand that, and I'm not saying R.J. Barrett's a bad player. I'm just saying I think we know he's not the guy, and you're not really rebuilding unless you find that guy.
No.
Yeah.
If you look around,
you're just pretending. If you don't land a guy, which they may in this draft, somebody said, I pray every night that they're going to get Peterson. So you're not really rebuilding if you don't find him.
Yeah, and you know what's so funny about that is the idea of the Blazers, and I know Denny Avdia, all-star reserve, and I think he'll continue to improve, but the idea that the Blazers figured it out, as much as I love what Denny can do on the court, I don't know if the Blazers have found their guy. I think a lot of people believe it's Denny, but people are saying, man, look at the Blazers. They're moving and shaking.
They were hoping it might be Shaden Sharp.
Right. Look at the Blazers. They're moving and shaking. Look what they're doing. Well, they're the 10 seed.
Right.
And I don't know where they go from here.
They thought Scoot might be that.
Yeah, it's Scoot.
I didn't, but they did.
Where's Scoot and his rec specs? Where's
Scoot
he at?
can't shoot.
Yeah, where's his rec specs, man?
All right, when we come back, Brett Siegel joins us. How close might the Kings be to a Domas to Toronto trade? We'll find out when we come back. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at SactownSports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now during our President's Day sales event. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Come celebrate at Stockton Honda and get huge savings on our giant selection. Plus top dollar for your trade.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. TurboTax, free edition only. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple form, 1040 returns only. How this is taxes.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
Intuit TurboTax free edition. See if you qualify at TurboTax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Let me check my trade deadline countdown clock. 1 day, 20 hours, 58 minutes, and 43 seconds till the deadline. So let's get busy with somebody who's very busy right now. Nice enough to join us, National NBA reporter for Clutch Points, Brett Siegel. Brett, thank you so much for your time. Let's start here. How close may we be to a Domantas Sabonis to the Toronto Raptors deal in your estimation?
Well, they've certainly been talking about that trade over the last few weeks. It's been something that we've reported on at Clutch Points. I know other outlets have also been covering it as well. And Domantas Sabonis is certainly on the Toronto Raptors' radar, where Jakob Poeltl's status moving forward is very questionable at this point. We don't know what his health looks like, and that's why the Raptors are so keen on trying to find front court talent. Are they going to dip below the tax and make a small move, or are they going to pull off a big splash at the trade deadline and go after Domantas Sabonis? We reported yesterday on Clutch Points on the potential trade package that is being discussed, which it's RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Ochai Abaji's expiring salary, and a first-round pick. But the Kings, they obviously don't want to take on Jakob Poeltl's salary. So would they be enticed to take it on if they get more first-round picks from the Raptors, or does another team have to become involved? And we're seeing a lot of different organizations make moves today, some having trade exceptions that could filter this trade for Jakob Poeltl. And so these are discussions that will be going on over the next 2 days.
What's up, Brett? Good to hear from you again, my guy. Brett, can you explain to some of the fans out there why a team like the Grizzlies would take on a contract like Jakob Poeltl?
Yeah, so the Grizzlies, they made their trade today involving Jaren Jackson Jr. going to the Utah Jazz, an 8-player trade, and the Grizzlies get 3 first-round picks out of it, which puts them right with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Brooklyn Nets in terms of the most first-round picks around the league. And Alan, this basically signals that Memphis is taking a step back. They're willing to say, hey, we're going to be rebuilding. They're going to take a page out of the Thunder's book. They're going to take a page out of the Nets book and the Wizards book of going through a full rebuild, going through the draft. And that means not only is Jaren Jackson walking out the door, but John Morant will be following him very shortly. I'm pretty confident saying that there will be a John Morant trade before Thursday. And so when you're the Grizzlies and you're looking at potential pass forward, they want expiring salary, they want draft picks. So could they potentially facilitate a Jakob Poeltl trade to send Sabonis to the Toronto Raptors? We've been told today that it is an option that is being discussed. Now, whether or not the Grizzlies' price can be met, that's something completely different. What would they actually want? Is it just 1 first-round pick? Would they want 2 first-round picks? Because that changes the whole landscape of this trade, not just for Toronto, but Sacramento as well. Because let's just say, for all intents and purposes, John Morant could potentially still be in play for Sacramento. Now you're talking about more pieces being moved. Maybe DeMar DeRozan is heading to the Grizzlies as a half-expiring salary for next season, and maybe they're the ones that give up an extra draft pick to take some weight off the Raptors. So there's still a lot being discussed here. Even a team like the Chicago Bulls could get involved to facilitate a deal for Jakob Poeltl, but it's still certainly on the table here. And as we reach whatever the amount of hours was left, whatever Kevin said the hours are left, I don't even know anymore. I believe it's like, 45, 44 hours. We're going to be seeing a lot of talk now about a Domantas Sabonis trade.
Yeah, 1 day, 20 hours, 55 minutes, and 24 seconds. Yeah, Brett Siegel, nice enough to join us. Now, Brett, you mentioned Ja, and from what we've heard, no disrespect to you, but Sam Amick is on the station a lot, and he's from Sacramento, and he's talked a lot about potentially Kings and some interest in Ja. Is it possible, from what you're saying, that Ja could be part of a much larger deal that would also involve Domas and Poeltl and a Memphis, Toronto, Sacramento thing? Is that possibly what we're waiting on here?
It's certainly an avenue that has been discussed in league circles, Kevin, and people that I've checked in with today still see Sacramento being a viable landing spot for John Morant. The only problem is John Morant's camp, they see one avenue, and that avenue is the Miami Heat. They have been the team that has been linked to John Morant for weeks now. It's the team that he potentially wants to go to. And if they're willing to give him a big extension, like it seems like the indications right now are, that could be the trade that goes down. And we know that the Miami Heat also have interest in Giannis Antetokounmpo. So they're working the phones on those angles. The Kings, they're still working the phones on the Sabonis angle. Maybe John Morant is something that could pop up there, but as of right now, it seems like the one team that John Morant wants is Miami. Would he be willing to go to Sacramento? And is that something that they even want to do? The Kings front office, that is, knowing that John Morant only wants to go to Miami. It's certainly a question that we'll find out over the course of the next day.
Yeah, and going back to some of the other teams and players that have had these demands. Jimmy Butler wanted to go to the Suns, ends up with the Warriors. I think Dame wanted to go to the Heat and ended up on the Bucks. Is this just something that happens early on where obviously Ja Morant doesn't have a ton of leverage or control? Is this just a bit of posturing from his camp for now to see if they can get it done? And then in whatever amount of time, they'll say, okay, actually, we have a list. And, Sacramento wants me to be their guy. All right, maybe that's the case. How often do we see these guys really hold the line? Because I don't know how much Ja wants to stay in Memphis, but we don't even know how interested Eric Spoelstra, he can't even deal with Khalil Ware. Does he really want to deal with Ja Morant?
It's certainly a question that can be brought up, and we've seen it before, like you mentioned with Damian Lillard, where he requests a trade to a certain team, which the league took exception to and basically said, stop doing that. Stop saying only the Miami Heat. And so Damian Lillard ultimately got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. So could a potential scenario like that play out with Ja Morant? Absolutely. He could be on the move to Sacramento before the trade deadline. No one really knows at this point because everything's still held up by this Giannis trade chatter wave. Is he going to go to the Golden State Warriors or the Miami Heat? Could the Minnesota Timberwolves get a deal done before the deadline? Or will the Milwaukee Bucks hold on to him heading into the summer, which as of right now, that seems like the most likely path, but that could change at any point because Minnesota and Golden State are not backing down from their pursuit of Giannis. And obviously that's the type of trade that will impact Ja Morant's market because Ja Morant, unless one of these teams like the Heat are told that they are out of the Giannis sweepstakes, we won't see that domino fall until Giannis is traded.
That's Brett Siegel. Nice enough to join us again. He's extremely busy, as you can imagine. So let's look at what we think we know again. Brett, I know we keep talking about this, but getting back to Domas and Toronto. So it looks like Toronto and the Kings reach kind of an impasse. I know Matt George on our station calls it a hurdle. It's like, well, wait a minute, we don't want him. Well, you have to take him. We need a third team. Memphis comes down from the heavens potentially and says, we'll facilitate for you, but then it comes down to what they're going to get, right, which could still be another hurdle because they may say, Memphis, that is, well, we're going to need a first to facilitate this, and then the Kings and Toronto would have to haggle over, well, wait, we don't want to give them that. So that's potentially the next hang-up in this deal, even if Memphis expresses a desire to potentially get involved, right?
Right. And the way I see that going down, if Memphis is actually going to help facilitate this and they'd be willing to take on Jakob Poeltl, you're probably looking at some kind of 3-team swap of a pick where the Raptors would wind up trading 2. They'd be trading 1 to the Kings for Sabonis. And then you have something where the Grizzlies would get the most favorable of those 3 picks. The Kings get the second most favorable, and then Toronto gets the last favorable. So we've seen those type of trades happen before with 3 teams where the picks are kind of swapped around like that. And it just depends on where the ping pong balls fall in the lottery, in the draft lottery that year. But it's certainly a possibility that Memphis could get involved here. It's certainly a possibility that the Bulls, now if they traded Nikola Vucevic, could get involved. So we're just waiting to hear. We're waiting to see some other moves be made. But the Raptors and Kings have held discussions about Sabonis over the last month and leading up to the trade deadline. And obviously with Jakob Poeltl still being out and still dealing with that back injury, there's even more of a sense of urgency in Toronto to get a center that can help them push for a real playoff spot this year.
You know, for a minute there, Brett, I thought this, and I think I said this out loud, and I'm going to be on freezing cold takes probably, that this could be the worst NBA trade deadline in recent history. And shortly after that, we started to see some movement starting with the Sacramento Kings. Actually, what do you think has been the shift where a lot of people thought Giannis was going to hold this thing up? What has been the shift where some of these teams have decided, obviously the Warriors haven't done anything quite yet, but some of these teams have decided, look, we're going to go about our business. We don't know what Giannis is going to do, but we're not going to wait for him. Is it just a matter of the teams that aren't in the Giannis conversation making moves, or is there a belief that we're not going to wait for Giannis, we're not going to wait for the Bucks, we don't necessarily know where they're going, and this thing is probably going to get to the offseason here?
So there's a couple of questions to answer there, Alan. The first is the only stuff being held up by Giannis right now is the Warriors trade talks, the Timberwolves trade talks, and the Miami Heat trade talks. And then obviously Ja Morant is the domino right behind there because if the Miami Heat strike out on Giannis, they'll immediately pivot to Ja Morant. I'm very confident saying that. So that's kind of the first aspect there of Giannis not necessarily holding up everybody's trade talks. And then the second part, we can just point to the Utah Jazz. They saw an opportunity to go out and get Jaren Jackson using draft picks that are not their own, draft picks that they have gone gotten through the years, through whether it was the Rudy Gobert trade, whether it was the Phoenix Suns trade that they made before the deadline last year, that 2031 pick, they gave up 3 lesser first-round picks for, and that's a very valuable pick that they now flipped for Jaren Jackson. And so they're operating in this 2, 3, 4-year window where the Jazz look at the West. They know that the Thunder are going to run into cap problems over the next 3 to 4 years. Hey, maybe there's an opportunity with us. We get Jackson. We have Lauri Markkanen, and we got Keontae George, who's an emerging superstar. We have a potential top 5 pick in this year's draft. Maybe there's a path for them to climb up the rankings. And that's why we're seeing a lot more of these teams make these type of urgent moves that we've seen in the past. We would have labeled them as these big, bold moves to go out and get a guy like Jaren Jackson. Now it just makes sense for the Jazz because they can facilitate it. They have the money to do so, and they're not really giving up much value to go out and get him and enlarge their championship aspirations over the next 3 to 4 years. And as crazy as it sounds, that's kind of how teams are going to be operating with these financial rules and the apron salaries and whatnot. You're looking at 2, 3, maximum 4-year windows for teams to compete for a championship. And when they see their window with their young talents and their depth, they're going to go out and take that opportunity, just like we saw today with the Jazz.
Brett Siegel, nice enough to join us. Is there, as far as you know, Brett, any measurable level of interest in Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, or Zach LaVine? And just spitballing here, something's being thrown around on social media. Could LaVine to Memphis for Ja be something that you could imagine the two teams, the Grizzlies and the Kings, even discussing on any level?
I would be absolutely shocked if Zach LaVine was traded at this deadline. It's almost a 0% chance. Never say never, because we thought Luka was a 0% chance last year, but I do not see anything happening with Zach LaVine before the trade deadline. DeMar DeRozan, I'd put it maybe a 2% chance, and the only reason I say that is if he's thrown into one of those deals for a Giannis or for a John Morant, just to help facilitate salaries in that aspect. But I don't anticipate him being moved unless it's one of those, or maybe even the Jakob Poeltl scenario that we brought up earlier, where John Morant goes to Sacramento and then they send DeMar DeRozan back to the Grizzlies. Again, something that is not confirmed to be talking about, but when you start playing with the money, and if John Morant is to go to Sacramento, it starts to make a little bit of sense. And so that's the only way I see DeRozan getting moved. Malik Monk, there's a level of interest there. I'd say that he's the most likely Kings player of those big contracts to possibly be moved. But again, it depends on some of these other teams. We know that the Minnesota Timberwolves had a level of interest in Malik Monk, but they're all in for Giannis right now. So if those talks fall through and they need to get a guard quickly, maybe they pivot back to Malik Monk. So again, it's just the Kings. They're dealing with the Sabonis stuff right now with the Toronto Raptors. Other than that, it's just if an opportunity comes their way to be a facilitator and get off one of these contracts.
Brett, just one more on the Giannis thing, because I had a question about Zach LaVine, but one more on the Giannis thing quick. Let's say the Bucks come out and the trade deadline goes by or gets close to the trade deadline and we're already close, and the Bucks say, we're not moving Giannis, we just don't see anything of note. Those teams that you brought up, the Timberwolves, teams that you discussed as far as the pivot, would the pivot happen before the trade deadline, or would they now say, okay, the Timberwolves, the Heat, this whole crew, we're just going to all restart this conversation in the offseason? Or would some of these teams like the Timberwolves say, all right, well, we're going to pivot now and go get a Malik Monk or anything like that?
Well, I think for those 3 teams, I think the Timberwolves, they would be comfortable waiting until the summer to make a big move, because it's a team that made the Western Conference Finals 2 straight years. They still have the same core group together. So you're not going to see them offering up the same guys that they are for Giannis, like Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle. They're not going to move off of those contracts just to do so this season. They're still in a contending role, and so they're going to look to make moves around the edge. That's why we saw them today. They got rid of Mike Conley's salary, so it opens up a little bit more optionality for them to not only pursue Giannis, but then possibly a secondary move on the market instead of going after a big star like a James Harden or a John Morant. Now, for the Warriors and the Heat, they will absolutely pivot. What the Warriors do, we have no idea at this time. We don't know what their backup plan is, but they're obviously going to do something, because last year they seemed very confident that they were going to get Kevin Durant. Those talks fell through, as we reported on at Clutch Points a lot. And then they went and got Jimmy Butler. So I would expect something similar to occur there, because they're still working the phones. They want a firm answer whether or not they can get Giannis. And then, like we mentioned, Alan, with the Miami Heat, if they can't get Giannis, it seems like John Morant is the clear pivot move there.
That's Brett Siegel, national NBA reporter for Clutch Points. Brett, as you may know, DeAndre Hunter met with the Sacramento media today after practice. Looks like he makes his Kings debut tomorrow night against what's left of the Memphis Grizzlies. I wanted to ask you, what, in your view, did the Kings accomplish in the Keon Schroeder to Cleveland for DeAndre Hunter deal?
Well, they knew that they weren't going to get a first-round pick for Keon Ellis around the league. That became very clear. And whether or not they wanted to take back secondary assets like second-round picks in future years and some expiring salaries for him, this DeAndre Hunter trade popped up, and it made a lot of sense for them because DeAndre Hunter is a player that Scott Perry really likes. He's been on record talking about him in the past of how he views his skill set, and they're going to utilize him right away as a 3-and-D type player next to Keegan Murray, and he's going to take a lot of defensive pressure off of Murray as well for this team, and that's why they really like that aspect of it. Obviously, there's talks of maybe getting RJ Barrett as well, and we're kind of seeing the vision here for Scott Perry of getting these younger athletic guys that can really play any role on the floor, whether it's defense, whether it's being a lead ball handler, whether it's being a three-point shooter. They just want dynamic play. And so DeAndre Hunter comes in. He's been around the league. He's been with a couple teams before. He's been on a very successful Virginia team as well in college. And so he knows what it takes to win games. And he's a guy that will fit in perfectly with the Kings in my mind. I think that it was a good move for them, especially because they got off of Dennis Schroeder's contract. That just did not work out from the time that they signed him. Russell Westbrook emerged as the point guard there. And now by moving Dennis Schroeder, you open up minutes for Nick Clifford, which was the ultimate goal.
Brett, just one more for you, and then we'll let you get back to it. The report came out today from Sam Amick, Zach LaVine, surprise, surprise, 49 million reasons why to stay in Sacramento, even if he doesn't love it. My question is, should we take from that Clutch Sports maybe had some unofficial conversations with teams as far as if Zach LaVine were to opt out, would they be interested in a $100 million deal for 4 years or whatever it is? Should we take anything from the fact that Zach LaVine decided to opt in, or is it very simply, no, you take the $50 million now and you figure the rest out later?
A little bit of both. I'm sure that there's been conversations behind the scenes with his agency, talking to teams, being like, hey, would you guys be interested in offering us anything? And I'm sure the answer was no. And that's just kind of where the market is right now for Zach LaVine. He's not going to get another one of these $45 million contracts. And that's not a knock to the type of player he is, because he is a fantastic player. And he's played at a borderline all-star level when he's been healthy out there on the court. He's been the leading scorer multiple times for the Kings. It's just about finding the right system for him. And with the way that the NBA has transitioned over the years, his style of play isn't necessarily at the top of teams' priority list right now. And so he would be nothing more than a number 2, number 3 guy for contending teams. And that's where we're at right now is Zach LaVine. So it makes sense that he'll be back with the Kings. I wouldn't expect anything different. And then, Alan, I know that you brought up before, could there be a possible buyout option there? I don't see that happening right now. Maybe it's something that could happen down the line, but he's going to be back with the Kings for the 26-27 season.
Brad, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you got 3 more hits today, so we appreciate you taking the time, and we will talk to you soon. Probably the last time we're going to talk to you before the trade deadline, so we'll have to have you back on after the dust has settled, and you've earned a vacation at some point, so we hope you get it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brett.
Appreciate it, guys. Be on the lookout for an all-star being traded tonight.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Can't leave without the last heater. Thanks, Brett. We will keep an eye out.
Thank you, Brett.
Wow.
Yeah. Condenser mic drop.
Yeah, just get on out of there with that one. An all-star. A current? No.
Yeah, that's a little vague, just vague enough.
Tonight. Wow.
Thank you for the question you asked. I hadn't thought of that, and I think it's a really good question. What does this mean that we heard today that Zach LaVine's opting in? Where is that coming from? What does that mean? Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I hadn't thought of that. Is that coming from Kings, Zach LaVine's camp? Well,
yeah.
Who's saying it exactly and why? Who's clarifying that?
Yeah, I had some conversations prior to that, and my question to the people I was talking to was essentially, hey, what are the rules on what Rich Paul and the crew can say? And basically the whole idea is things are so mucked up right now that, to Brett's point, there were probably some unofficial conversations, or somebody might have said, Brett said he doesn't think so, but even if somebody said, hey, yeah, we'll give you $100 million over 4 years, maybe it was somewhere that LaVine didn't love, or maybe LaVine said, I'll just take half that in 1 year and we'll figure the rest out later. So, but Brett says he doesn't think that was the case, and Zach LaVine had 49 million reasons to stay in the
Yeah.
farm to fork capital of the world.
Maybe it's just his camp's way of letting everybody know, if you're interested in Zach, just so you know.
Right.
He's picking up that option.
Yeah, he picks up the option. That sounds like a gnarly buyout, whatever that looks like. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get towards that, especially if they do this. If they do this Sabonis deal and then you bring in, again, 2 more 6'5" shooting guards in Abaji and RJ Barrett, I think Zach LaVine probably opts in, but is more willing to see what other options are out there.
Now, it sounds like Ja would not prefer to come here. So wouldn't that just be the last straw if you were thinking about it? You know, he don't want to be here. Why do we want to assume that?
That kind of annoys me. Come on, Ja. Who do you think you are?
He thinks he's somebody who wants to go play in Miami.
That's what I'm saying. Does Eric Spoelstra want to deal with that?
Well, you know, with them, it's like heat culture. If he's ever going to fit in somewhere, it's going to be here. And if he doesn't, who needs him?
Heat culture help a jump shot? Heat culture keep you healthy?
Heat culture could, look, I'm not sticking up for heat culture. I'm just explaining what they're thinking probably is.
I mean, look.
Yeah.
Heat culture did not follow Gabe Vincent to the Lakers. Heat culture did not follow a lot of these players to other teams. So I'm not bagging on heat culture. I'm just saying if I'm Eric Spoelstra, is the juice worth the squeeze with Ja Morant? Miami is not Sacramento. You can get free agents in the Miami market. So you don't have to deal with that. Sacramento's a little bit different. So I don't know who Ja thinks he is. This ain't, what was it? This ain't 2019 anymore. You know what I mean? This ain't.
Well, you're saying that Josh should say, oh, thank you. I'm just so humbled that someone wants me.
No, that would be nice.
How can I help you?
No, that would be nice. That's what he needs, a little humble pie. You know, oh my goodness, thank you, Sacramento.
I don't think he does humble very well.
Well,
he reminds me of somebody I know.
Who is that? Who, Draper? Who is that?
I can't. It's slipped my mind.
It slipped your mind.
Slipped my mind.
Don't you ever compare. Oh my goodness. Are you serious? Ja, you should be grateful if the Kings wanted you. Grateful. I want to go to Miami. So do I. We all want to go to Miami.
Honest, how many players in the league right now, hear that, oh, Sacramento may want you and go, oh, yeah. Let's just be honest.
It's not about that. It's not about that. It's about Ja thinking he's going to go to one of the most, I guess, illustrious, sought-after organizations in sports, number one, and number two, that they're going to want him back. And now, look, Brett,
that's the report, isn't?
Yeah. Brett is saying
yeah.
The pivot would be Ja, but I gotta believe. I'll believe it when I see it. And that spacing, by the way, go ahead, atrocious. Him and Bam, give me a break.
Yeah,
go ahead, just go, Ja. Just go. If they want you, then go. You don't want to be here, then go. Because now I'm getting upset. And I don't even want Ja.
You're getting upset that Ja doesn't want to come here?
I don't even want Ja.
I'm getting upset that you want Ja to come here.
I don't, but it's the principle. Who are you to not want to come here?
You're saying, I don't want you, but how dare you not want to come
exactly.
here? Whether I want you or not.
Exactly. If, you're in the club and you see somebody and you weren't interested in them anyway, but they're like, oh, no, I don't think Allen's very cute. Well, who are you?
Your two agents here in the chat. Ja perhaps could be Weber 2.0 in terms of rehabbing his image and then move him next year at a profit. Maybe the big difference there, your two agents, Chris Webber was just coming into his prime.
Yeah.
Chris Webber had not played his best basketball yet when the Kings got him. And that, to me, is the issue with Ja, more so than anything else. It's like, he's not playing that well, and physically he's not the same player. That's the big issue.
Yeah.
I'm not as worried as Allen is about whether he wants to be or not. It's like he had problems with his jump shot early in his career, found it a little bit, and now it's gone.
I hear you.
It's gone again.
I don't want him. And I didn't want him before. But I definitely don't want him now. Now I definitely don't want him. Wow. And I got a text, by the way.
I'm sorry?
I got a text.
What does that mean?
That all-star that was brought up.
Yeah?
It's more obvious than you think, if you think about it. And it wasn't former. It wasn't not a former all-star. He was an all-star. But it's more obvious than you think if you put two and two together.
So Brett Siegel drops that on the air, then he scurries off, and then he texts you. And
I didn't say it was Brett. I didn't say Brett texted me. I said I got a text.
Did he text you? Okay.
I cannot.
So Brett, that wasn't that hard. So Brett texts you, and now you're not going to tell us either.
Well,
but you are going to tell us that I know it is.
Well, it's pretty clear. If you follow the cookie crumbs, it's right there for you. I know you got this.
Is it a Harden thing?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay. You just brought it up because you wanted us to know that you know.
And you know. In your heart of hearts, you know.
All right. When we come back, how focused should the Kings be on moving Domas? We have Doug Smith also coming up this hour from the Toronto Star. Keith Smith, top of the hour. We got a lot to cover today as we get ready for the trade deadline, which is almost here. And it looks like the Kings may be up to something. We roll on next. Drive Guys, Sactown Sports.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert. John Party. And more. Line dancing live DJs, mechanical bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. It's the perfect Valentine's gift. Surprise them with live country music and dancing. Country in the Park, May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblit Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Center and Hilton Sacramento. For more info, visit CITPFest.com.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, Toyota. Let's go places.
You remember me from a show called And Joe? I'm back on the radio, Sacramento. It's Joe Mami, and when you need your new country fix, join me weekdays from 6A to 10 for the Pat and Cody with Joe show on New Country 105.1 KNCI or on the free KNCI app.
Download the app and listen to The Drive Guys.
The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
On Sactown Sports, 1140.
I know it's Super Bowl week, and I know the Super Bowl is right down the road. And maybe it's because I'm focused more on the trade deadline. I'll watch the Super Bowl. When I think about it, yeah, that'll be fun. But I'm not excited about it, Alan.
I told you, one of the four teams, it was bad combinations. And they got lucky because the Patriots did win, but it was going to be a hard sell with people. Seahawks, Patriots, and I watched some of the hype videos yesterday. Obviously, they're down there. By the way, San Jose Convention Center, I guess a lot of people were complaining it was in a random warehouse compared to, what was it, in New Orleans last year, and I guess the setup was much better for the media, but not just the media. There was more fan interaction last season and the season before in Vegas when we were out there. I guess it was a random empty warehouse where they did the first day. And you could hear echoes and media members. I saw them all saying, what is going on here? So, yeah, I mean, they're trying to figure things out. People are all stuck in traffic. I mean, the gas is going to be a nightmare when you got to put in all your receipts to whoever it is. But I'm excited to watch the game. I have no clue who I'm rooting for in my heart of hearts. I'm rooting for the Seahawks because of the Sam Darnold story, and I love JSN. But
yeah, I think I am too.
I don't know if the Patriots win. I just don't know what to do with that. Drake May is not Tom Brady yet. I don't think he's going to be Tom Brady. There's one Tom Brady. Where do we put him now? I don't know. I don't know what to do with any of that. And then the Pro Bowl is also here. It's in the Moscone Center. It's just very random.
I do think too, and I'll just, if I may, just be negative about things for a minute. Like, I know that All-Star reserves have been announced, and to me, the NBA All-Star game is dead. It's very similar to the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl, they don't even play it ananymore.
It's not as
They
bad
do a
as the
thing that
Pro
they
Bowl.
call the Pro Bowl, because they had to give up. And I think the NBA All-Star game at some point within the next 5 years, they're also going to have to go, we just can't play it anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's inevitable.
Yeah, there was a face that VJ Edgecombe made, and obviously Ricky coming in, and they got Jackson Hayes to do the slam dunk competition. But the face that VJ made when they asked him would he do the dunk, he was disgusted, right? It was like when I ask my nephew, when I say something, when I try to say something cool, hey, no cap or whatever it is, and he looks at me like, dude, you got gray hairs. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's how VJ Edgecombe reacted, and he was almost disgusted, Whitey, and I'm thinking, they're cooked. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. The NBA All-Star game and the slam dunk contest is just a bloated corpse that they fill it up with air and they prop it up once a year and go, oh, look at this. Remember the great history of the All-Star game? It's dead. It's done.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
And RIP, they tried to do the whole, hey, we're going to now play hard for Kobe. I think that lasted about a quarter. Right. Remember when they had the kids?
When they did remember the Elam ending?
Right. But they had the kids in the corner, and this is your money if we make this shot. Why did they stop doing that? That was when they actually played. Now it's going to be, is it a 3-on-3 tournament with the world team and whatever? I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, like I said, I'm just not.
No, you're in.
Yeah. I'm not in on that. I'll be a lot more in on the Super Bowl, even though I'm not thrilled about the Super Bowl. At least it's actual competition.
Oh, I'm in on the Super Bowl. Obviously,
I want to see Green Day.
Yeah,
I want to see Bad Bunny.
Yeah, I want to see La Russell. Shout out Vallejo. We were just talking about him, but we got she's about to be 5 months, and then we got number one who's about to be 3. So we're not doing anything. So it's just a matter of we're gonna hit Costco.
Yeah,
we're gonna eat good food. It's an excuse to just do nothing all day.
Sure.
I'm more excited about that, but obviously this ain't back in the day where we could go to a Super Bowl party. Well, I'm stuck at home. We're going to make the best of it. So I have no choice, I guess is what I'm saying, to pay attention to the game because I don't really have the extracurriculars as I used to have.
Yeah.
I used to be, out in these street Super Bowl parties. We talk about we're grilling oysters. We're doing it all, White.
Those are the days.
Those were the days. But now we're at home changing diapers during Bad Bunny. I don't want to do that, but that's parents. You know?
So you're stuck at home. Are the Kings stuck with Domantas Sabonis?
I don't think so.
Why do they apparently feel the need to move him?
I have a great I'm glad you brought that up because I saw this text come through and it's gone now, but I'll paraphrase it. I think you were a 916, and I hope I don't get it wrong, but somebody said, I think his name was Scott. Scott said, can somebody explain to me when we decided that Domantas Sabonis isn't good anymore? And I thought that was a great text because, Scott, I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure when that happened. Yeah, 916 Scott. Can you guys remind us why we don't like Sabonis anymore? I don't know if it's not liking Sabonis. I think it's just the time had passed to where very similar, honestly, to a Keon Ellis, he's not helping what you're now trying to do.
Well, I could see if you could get a couple picks for him. There was a time when we would have thought, oh, you get at least 3 firsts for him.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about maybe they get 1. I mean, if you're trying to rebuild, gap year, tank, whatever you want to call it, and you've got a veteran, he's maybe not thrilled to be here, and you could get first-round picks for him, okay. It's not that you don't like him. It's like, well, but that just helps us get where we want to go. Thanks for everything. But it seems more like they're like, we got to get rid of this guy. And that's what I don't understand.
I think to me, it's the same thing as the Dennis Schroeder thing. They're just jumping at any opportunity to get rid of any of the contracts. I don't think because some people will say
that is not very prudent, nor is it opportunistic.
I think it is prudent to get off of something. Right, and somebody will chime in and say, why don't they get off of DeMar instead? Right, or why don't they get off of Levine? They would if they could. I think this is a matter of, all right, we had a plan, right? Boxing, the dude got his toupee punched off over the weekend. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. I think the Kings got punched in the mouth a little bit with these contracts, and they're thinking, all right, we had a plan to get rid of the bad contracts. Now we just have to get rid of contracts, period.
Yeah, because they're projected to be into the luxury tax.
Which is
and
insane.
Not very good.
Yossi yesterday said it's incredible that the Kings are one of the most expensive teams with how bad they are.
Well, that's discouraging because then it's, why are you moving off of this? We're making assumptions, I know, but, well, because financially we can't get rid of anybody else.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough one. But, yeah, if anybody's wondering, did the Kings sour on Domantas Sabonis? Doesn't seem like it, going back to Doug Christie being Domantas Sabonis' personal coach. Domantas Sabonis kind of vouched for Doug, time and time again, vouched for Malik as a point guard on this team. I think that this was a team that was with Domantas Sabonis in mind. They didn't give it a ton of time, but when you bring in Scott Perry, and the conversation would have been different, Whitey, if you brought in somebody and maybe the GM thinks, no, I like the parts and I want to see what we can do. Scott Perry said, I'm good off all of you, so I got to clear it out. So the decision to bring in Scott Perry, I think, is what put a timer on Domantas Sabonis' time in Sacramento. If it was a different GM, maybe it's a different outlook.
Yeah, the other side of the coin being, as I said, they just want to get off of Domas. The other side of the coin is what Red Siegel said, which is if you bring in DeAndre Hunter, which they have, and maybe you get RJ Barrett, you can see the type of team that Scott Perry's trying to build. Now, I didn't expect him to start doing that already, but maybe I just need to wrap my brain around that. Domas is not a guy that he feels fits what he wants his team to become. If he can get off that salary and then bring in guys like, that he really likes and start to build the type of team that he really likes, I guess there's something to be said for that.
You know what's funny is
then it's not just a matter of we just got to get rid of him.
Right. Well, you know what's funny is what we've seen from Scott Perry is that he's fairly traditional, right? I need a point guard. I need a backup point guard.
Well, I hope not, but it does look that way.
Does kind of seem like
that's
that.
what Vlade was.
So if we follow, and now he's got his, defend. He needs a shooting guard, RJ Barrett. He needs a 4. He gets DeAndre Hunter. They got Keegan as the 3-4 right now, however you want to swap them. When you look at Domantas Sabonis, he is in no way, shape, or form a traditional big. So I wonder if one of the reasons maybe Scott Perry is more so trying to move off of Domantas Sabonis is because he's thinking, hey, the way we're building this team, it's not going to be this hybrid mini Jokic situation. We're going to have a point guard. We're going to have our guys, and then we're going to bring in, we're either going to get, Maxime is going to take that leap, or Dylan, or we're going to bring in a $15 million Zubac, whatever it is, and the center is nice, but it's not the cornerstone unless you find, I don't even know how you would find somebody like that these days, because none of the top 10 guys are centers in the draft this year at least. So I think he's looking at it thinking centers are good, but we don't need Domantas Sabonis, and we definitely don't need to be paying him $45 million.
I hope you're wrong. I see why you're saying that. I don't think we know that. I understand, like I said, why you say that. I hope that's not the case, because to me that's kind of that Lego build a roster that I thought Vlade was doing. Like, we need a 4. There's Bagley. We'll get that. And I think, especially given that the NBA is more about positionless basketball than it ever has been, we don't hear that term as much, but when new ownership came in here, we heard that a lot. I think that's a more sensible approach, especially when you're so bad. It's just a matter of get talent in here and we'll sort the rest out.
Yeah.
And if it's like, we'll get a 4, we'll get a 2, then we'll draft a 1. It's like, that to me is just a very short-sighted way of looking
all I
at
know is that they really wanted a point guard, which is important,
They
right?
didn't say that. I mean, they clearly, he clearly said that.
As far as everything else, I don't necessarily know that. I'm just reading the tea leaves, but it does feel like they are deprioritizing the style of play that Domantas Sabonis brings. And you could, and I think in their minds, let's just go get a $20 million Zubac type deal and go from there. They're not even looking for a Şengün or to find a younger Sabonis. I think they just want a more traditional big, and they're going to focus on one of these other guys being their bread and butter.
Speaking of Domas, there are indications that he may be on his way to Toronto. So we're going to check in with Doug Smith, who's been covering the Raptors since they came into existence. Doug Smith from the Toronto Star with the latest on Domas to the Raptors talk. Next with the Drive Guys. Don't go away. Sactown Sports.
There are many reasons to choose Gonzalez Law Offices. As a dedicated trial lawyer with an undefeated record from 2016 through 2019, and you'll know that no case is too big or too small. Due to his success, hard work, and commitment to excellence, attorney Jonathan Gonzalez has been listed in Super Lawyer's Rising Stars, as well as in the top 40 under 40 list by national trial lawyers. You can find Gonzalez Law Office online at saclegaldefense.com or call him at 916-304-9187.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revibe Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revibe today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revibe Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
If your business depends on reliable vehicles, it's time to upgrade your fleet at myelkgrovechevrolet.com. We specialize in fleet pricing, bulk discounts, and fast approvals, so your team stays on the road and on the job. From work, trucks, and vans to fuel-efficient sedans and SUVs, we have the inventory, service, and financing to keep your business moving. Call or visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com today and ask about exclusive fleet savings. myelkgrovechevrolet.com. Driving business forward.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Live stream the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports 1140.
All right, Alan Stiles. Getting ready for the trade deadline, and let's check the clock here. 20 hours, 15 minutes, 29 seconds. Are those the last 20 hours, 15 minutes, and 24 seconds now of Domantas Sabonis' time as a Sacramento King?
Man, it would feel a bit unceremonious.
Maybe. Let's get
here it is.
Let's get the latest on how they're viewing this from the north. Nice enough to join us from the Toronto Star. He's been covering the Raptors since they first hatched. Doug Smith with us. How are you today, Doug?
Not bad, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing fine, and we appreciate your time. Where are we with Domantas Sabonis and the Raptors? Would you say, based on what you're hearing, how realistic is it to think that this thing actually could get across the finish line?
I think, you guys know, the last 20 hours are basically liar's poker. It was kind of bluffing and what's going on there. The Raptors have huge interest in Sabonis, but only if they know that Pirtle isn't going to play. I don't think they want to wrap up all their money in two centers with Jakob Poeltl and Sabonis. So it really depends on whether Poeltl's going to be able to play or not. He's got a bad back. Sabonis is a really, really good player, but I don't think they need both. But if they're not going to have Poeltl, they would like to have Sabonis. They like him a lot right now. He's a good fit, good fit stylistically, and it's the money. But there's other things in play here that, and this time of year of the deadline, no one's really telling the truth anyway.
Doug,
are you telling the truth, Doug?
Of course, absolutely.
Okay,
100%.
Right. Yeah, okay. Hey, you scared me there,
Doug. From the outside looking in, I guess I've always thought that R.J. Barrett and Brandon Ingram, when the Raptors decided to go get Brandon Ingram, that they might be just a tad redundant. Now here we are with R.J. Barrett maybe on the trade block for the Raptors. What is making R.J. Barrett a bit expendable to Toronto? Was it the addition of Brandon Ingram, or just they feel like he's kind of capped out on his ceiling?
It's a contract. He's got 1 year left after this. Of all the players he's the most financially viable trade target for other teams. They like the fact he's got 1 year left after this. And in this day and age, every trade is sort of like predicated on money, and that's why I think people are calling about him. He's a really good fit here. When he plays, they win. When he doesn't play, they don't win. So from a basketball perspective, it's not a wise trade. But when you factor in money, he's the guy who's most wanted by other teams.
Mm-hmm. Doug Smith with us from the Toronto Star. He's been covering the Raptors since they came into existence. What's your guess here, Doug, as far as how much the Raptors would be willing to part with in order to get Domantas Sabonis in terms of draft capital? If the Kings were sitting now, we need a one, we need 2 1s to make this happen. Maybe one of them goes to Memphis. Where are they in terms of draft capital that they could afford to spin off to get Domas, in your view?
They have every pick is in play. Mm-hmm. I don't think they would give up 2 firsts for sure. Sabonis is a good player, but at that level, I'm not sure about that. I would think that would be probably a deal breaker in Toronto. 1 first sometime in the future, maybe some seconds, maybe a swap. I don't know, but they're not going to merge they're not going to like 3 firsts for a 29-year-old guy who is going to be okay here, but probably not an Eastern Conference All-Star.
Oh. Doug, when it comes to Emmanuel Quickley, I know it's a pretty hardy contract at $32 million, 4 years left, but he is a heck of a player. Do you think Toronto is more so pushing to move off of him? And if they did, do you think they would want some type of point guard replacement in return, or do they believe, Jamal Shead, I'm pretty sure he balled out against us. Do they like what they've seen from 23-year-old Jamal Shead enough to maybe give him the keys?
They do think that Shead is a point guard, and I think they see Quickley as more a 2 guard. Like 1.5, let's say. Mm-hmm. An off-the-ball kind of guy, a guy who makes shots better without the ball than with it. And his contract is like 4 years at 25. It's a big number. And if they could get out of that one, I think they would be quite fine with letting say to Jamal Shead, hey, you're my point guard now. We'll find a 2 guard. They've been playing Shead and Quickley a lot lately, and we see that Quickley is better, much better off the ball than he is on it. Mm-hmm. And if you got him, he can't handle. He can't run a team, but he's better 2 guard. He's only a 1.5 guy. If they could get out of that one, they would quite happily give the keys to Shead and say, run the team for however you can.
Doug, I want to ask you this because the Kings right now, it looks like they may be just entering into some kind of tanking or rebuilding or gap year period. And it seems to me like the Raptors are coming out of it. Is that how they're viewing things? And how long were they kind of wandering in the wilderness before they realized, hey, we've got a pretty good team again?
Well, they've been out of the playoffs for 3 years, which is not a long time, but they went through wins of 25 wins meant 30 wins. And that was like, given what they were in the late 90s, late 2010s, they were really, really good. And then they got really, really bad fast.
Yeah.
And they didn't like it. They didn't like that at all. Right now, they're 31-20 or 30-21. They're pretty good, fourth in the East. They're not great, but they're pretty good. And they're certainly trending upwards. They're not stalled. And they don't want to plateau. They see there's improvement to come. Now they need shooting. They need a big. They need some things, but stuff you can get, and they're much further along. And that's the big question, guys. Here in Toronto, what does Sacramento want? Do they want to go right in the tank, or do they want to be in that middle range? What are they going to do with DeMar? What are they going to do with Levine? There's big questions, especially in the Eastern Conference. What are the Kings? And where are they going? Whatever they're going to do in the next 20 hours.
Doug, just one more for you. We've been talking about the picks, but also about players. You got three guys under the age of 23 in Colin Murray Boyles, Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter. Seems like the Raptors are higher on Murray Boyles and Jacoby Walter. I don't know if they would be willing to move on from either of them. But what happened to Grady Dick? Did it just not work out? Did he get enough runway? The last time I checked, it doesn't seem like he was playing a ton. How would you kind of rank those three players?
Murray Boyles is going to be a stud. They're not giving up on him. He's got to be one of the top 5 or 6 rookies in the NBA this year. He's really, really good. Walter's been up and down. He's been hurt a bit, but he's got more upside, I think. Dick is it's weird because he came in the league as a shooter, can't make a shot. He does the other stuff he plays. He hustles, he guards, diving a court for balls. He's a good team guy, but he's a 3-and-D guy who can't make a three. And I think of those three, he would be third for sure. Walter would be second, but Murray Boyles is going to be really, really good. They're not giving up on him.
We appreciate your time, Doug. Thank you very much for your insight. Fasten your seatbelts. We may have to check in with you again if something happens, but thanks, and enjoy the deadline. We'll talk to you soon.
24 hours. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Yeah, now when I talked to him, and one of the reasons I asked Jay to see if we could get him is because when I've been reading what he's been writing, I get the sense, I don't know if Domas, if that's going to happen. And I got the same sense talking to him. If what he says is on the money, that, the Raptors, they don't want to give up a lot of draft capital for Domantas Sabonis, who won't even be an all-star in the East. If what he's saying is true, I'm skeptical that this thing is going to happen.
So it was pretty funny what he said. Yeah, Grady Dick came into the league as a shooter, but he can't shoot. With that being said, 22 years old. I know Whitey fits now Scott Perry's bill. He's 6'6". Everybody is 6'6" now.
Yeah, he doesn't really guard people.
He's a team guy, and he competes.
Yeah, all right.
Right? Would Sacramento at least be interested in a Grady Dick if they were not able to get 2 first-rounders? I don't know.
Maybe.
Right? He's 4.9.
Then I see
2 more years, but
you say the Kings. You say, well, he's like a first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Would they be talked into it? Sounded like, honestly, from what Doug said, sounded like maybe Jacoby Walter if you don't want to give up a first. But what we do know is, according to Doug, Colin Murray Boyles ain't going anywhere. He ain't going anywhere.
Right.
But could Grady, I think for sure, it's just a matter of I don't know that the Kings would want him. Jacoby Walter is interesting. 6'5", SG, shooting guard.
Fits right in.
Fits right in.
Yeah.
So could that be?
We're going to dominate the 6'5" and under league.
Oh, my goodness. RJ, Jacoby Walter. Who else are they going to get? Somebody else 6'5"? Get it done.
Somebody got mad at, I think, me more than you in the text line. Why are you so down on RJ Barrett? He's just like Fox, and you loved Fox. I'm not down on RJ Barrett. I just don't think that at this point it's accurate to look at him as somebody who can become like a franchise centerpiece. That's how I feel about him.
And here's the thing. If that's how you feel about him, Fox ain't a franchise centerpiece either. That's no disrespect, but that's number one. And number two, RJ Barrett is not as good as De'Aaron Fox. That's the other part.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I'm not down. I'm not saying he's terrible or anything. I'm just saying if you're part of getting him would be to think that maybe he can still be the guy. I think we know that he's not that guy, but he can still help you. This would be his third team too.
Yeah,
if that happens.
We don't know. Could he be a number 2 on a championship team? Could he be a number 3? We don't know. And I think you just need picks. It's not about being low or high on R.J. Barrett. It's just not enough to rush a deal with Domantas Sabonis.
From Doug Smith to Keith Smith. Related? I don't know. We probably won't have time to ask him. Alan will probably ask him. Hey, Keith, are you related to Doug? Keith Smith, capologist from Spot Track. He'll crunch some numbers for us and the way he sees it. Why did the Kings pull off the trade they already made? Are they going to make any more? That's next with the Drive, guys, so don't go away. Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-489-7733. That's 800-489-7733. 800-489-7733.
At InShape, we have a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, the after-work grinder, the yogi, lifter, bodybuilder, walker, runner, swimmer, spinner, stretcher, rower, climber, jumper, dancer, boxer, sauna seeker, recoverer. Basically, if you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong at InShape. So whether it's your first time or your first time in a while, start the year strong and join today at InShape.com. Find a location nearest to you.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now during our President's Day sales event. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Come celebrate at Stockton Honda and get huge savings on our giant selection, plus top dollar for your trade.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kent Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kent Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles on Sactown Sports 1140.
Yeah, we got a lot more deadline do's and don'ts and domosses here in just a moment with Keith Smith from Spotrac. Before we get to that, and I think Keith is just about ready to go here, want to let you know that you can win a big game party for 10 people from Super Taco. You want to be listening to us between 2 and 6 for the code word. Enter it on our website for your chance to win. From street-style tacos and carne asada to super burritos and quesadillas packed with fresh ingredients, we've got the flavors you love, prices that make every meal feel like a celebration. Super Taco. Visit one of their 5 locations, Super Taco, where every taco tells a story. Your code word this hour is game. G-A-M-E, game. So you want to text that code word to us here. I want to make sure, see if I have a number where you can send it. Text us that code word. And, oh, is it? Okay. It is. Thank you. It's 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. And then you'll have a chance to win the big game taco party for 10. All right, Alan, do we have your guy ready to go? All right, nice enough to join us. We appreciate it. Spotrac contributor and NBA capologist, among other things, Keith Smith with us. How are you today, Keith? Are you ready for the deadline?
I think so, yeah. Today came kind of fast and furious midday there, but it was, it's all good.
Can we just ask you,
we're ready to go.
Before we get into what may happen, how about what did happen? What's the best thing and the worst thing about the DeAndre Hunter trade from Sacramento's standpoint?
The best thing is DeAndre Hunter is a good player. It's one of those things where I think it's now getting talked about like this guy is awful and can't play at all. He can still play. He's had a down shooting year, but that seems like a blip based on where he's been historically. So I think that's the good thing. The worst thing is the Kings took on money in this trade, and that feels a little bit off if they're going to be starting a reset and a rebuild. That feels a little bit off.
Keith, what do you think about Sabonis' contract? And if you were the Kings, would you do any deal with the Raptors that did not include a first rounder?
It depends on what I have to take back salary wise. If I'm having to take back Jakob Poeltl and like Emmanuel Quickley's contracts, I definitely need draft capital in that because those two guys, their contracts extend further out than Sabonis's does. I don't think they're very good value on their contracts. Quickly less so than Poeltl. Poeltl's I'm really worried about because he's now got this back issue that's been a recurring thing. And when you have that going on, that's tough because we've seen over the years back stuff doesn't really clear up. Usually it's something that kind of lingers and sticks around for a while. So I'm nervous about that part. If it's Barrett that comes in, that contract one's a little shorter. I think you could maybe kind of mix it where, okay, we're kind of trading out Sabonis's money for Poeltl's money. And we do get RJ Barrett. That's probably okay. But I would be very cautious if it's the other construction.
Mm-hmm. That's Keith Smith from Spotrac and the Front Office Show. Keith, wanted to ask you about the possibility here after Memphis made the deal they made and amassed all this cap space. What do you think is the likelihood of Memphis getting involved in the Toronto-Sacramento talks and saying, look, we'll take Poeltl here, but we're going to need a little something. A, do you think Memphis would be interested in that? And B, what's your best guess as far as what they would need to get involved?
Yeah, they might. I mean, it seems like the Grizzlies are turning towards a rebuild. We'll see. That's very much what it feels like with the trade of Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Utah Jazz. So at that point, yeah, I think the Memphis, you could probably entice them to, hey, if we send you, a pick to kind of eat Poeltl's contract, you good with that? And if they're willing to do that, then sure, then you can kind of move that way in that kind of thing. But that's where then it becomes, all right, would we rather have the value ourselves with the pick? Because if you're the Kings, you're turning towards a rebuild if you trade all these guys away. And why not kind of take the value for yourself versus moving it around? And maybe one of the things we've seen with the Thunder, part of why they grew so quickly was they were able to bring guys in with a pick attached, rehab their value, then trade them and get a pick on the other side. you're able to do that with a couple guys, then you're in a little bit better shape as well.
Keith, when it comes to the Kings, a lot of people have been saying, hey, Scott Perry made a bit of a mistake with the Dennis Schroeder contract, and he righted that wrong. It did cost them Keon Ellis, but they righted that wrong, and they moved on and got DeAndre Hunter. My thought process has been maybe the Kings underestimated how hard it was going to be to move off of some of the contracts that they had, as in DeMar DeRozan, which has been considered pseudo-expiring, and Malik Monk. I know early on with the Pistons and Schroeder, they didn't want Malik Monk. But how would you assess the contracts that the Kings had? Were they always this bad, or did you go into the season thinking, man, I thought there'd be some interest in DeMar DeRozan? Was it worse than you thought, or did you always think, yeah, Scott Perry's going to have to move Dennis Schroeder and include their best asset and have to give up a pick to move off of Dario Saric? What happened there?
Yeah, the contracts weren't great. I think the challenge is, like with Schroeder, for example, they invest in him, then felt like a week later, turned around and signed Russell Westbrook, and then did another deal. And then, then stopped playing Keon Ellis. And then Dennis Schroeder was in the starting lineup, out of the starting lineup. A guy like DeRozan has been kind of consistently there, and I think has played pretty well again for another season. So his I'm not as worried about, because of, like you said, it's almost like a pseudo expiring. There's not a lot of guaranteed money on there for next year. So you're in a position where I think you can make that one work. And then Sabonis has always been a little rough. Zach LaVine, as I said it the other night, he's overpaid, but he's still very good at what he does. And I think now we're in a position where we're going to see him opt in. They're going to hang on to him, because if I'm the Kings, what I'm looking at here is now he's an expiring contract, and an expiring contract always has value, even, no matter kind of what it's going on with it. So that's where I think that will have some value in and of itself. But yeah, it's just been a weird production. Then you mentioned Malik Monk. There was a period of time where he was out of the rotation and wasn't really playing, and it didn't make a lot of sense, because it's like, even if you're just trying to build this guy's trade value up, why are we benching him when he's healthy? Like, why is he a healthy scratch? It's just very weird stuff where it doesn't seem like the front office and the coaching staff have always been in lockstep on these guys.
That's Keith Smith, a great follow at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, I follow you on Twitter, and I mentioned that for this reason. It looks like the Kings may be stockpiling cap space in 27. And I think one of your pet peeves on Twitter is when people assume that, with cap space, all you can do is sign free agents. So
yeah.
What is the value beyond that of having cap space, please?
Yeah, I like to go to the Simpsons meme where the bus driver says, "Don't make me tap the sign," and you fill it in with cap space can be used for more than just signing free agents. You could trade for contracts there. You can act as a facilitator for contracts. You can go get guys you want when you have cap space. It's almost like a pseudo free agent signing. We've seen that happen over the years as well. So that's where we're in this weird kind of transitional period in the NBA where some of the best players don't make it to free agency because the extension rules have improved enough and they're so lucrative, and guys just want to lock into money. They, you throw, hey, here's 100, 200 million in some cases. We're approaching 300 million for some of these guys. They're not going to say no to that because, right, wrong, or indifferent, we all know the way it works in the NBA is I sign, I take my money, and if I don't like the way things are going in a year or two, I ask for a trade. And everybody's kind of, all right, that's just how we're going to do it. So it is a little tough on that one where it is, you try to get people to understand, like, it's still better to have it than not. Unless you're, a good team, you shouldn't be tearing down good teams. But if you're a bad team, you want to have cap space because that just increases your flexibility to do a whole lot of things.
Keith, Whitey and I have gone back and forth on the idea of a player and how much time they have on their contract and whether or not that helps or hurts the assets that they would get back in a trade. So I'm talking about control versus commitment. How do you break down the idea of a Domantas Sabonis right now, where if you traded for him, well, we have him for 3 more years, but on the other side, oh, wait, we got to pay him for 3 more years. What's that sweet spot of wanting to have control of a player, but also not wanting to commit to a crazy dollar amount? What's that sweet spot?
Yeah, I can't give you a straight answer to that, and I promise I'm not trying to skip out on answering, but it's very player dependent. It matters who it is. If it's like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander right now, or Nikola Jokic, or Luka Doncic, pay him whatever you want. I don't care. Go give him a couple more tree planting contracts and add a little bit on top if you need to, right? Let's just go crazy with those guys because they're worth it. But in the case of a guy like Sabonis, it's a near max contract for the next 3 seasons. And I think this is player fit, years, dollars. It all matters. If he's on the right team where the right kind of defensive players are next to him, I think Domantas Sabonis is still really good. For my money, he is still the second best facilitating big man in the league behind Jokic, who's in his own category that we've never seen before. And then you get Sabonis in here behind him. He's still an elite rebounder, and he's not a bad offensive player. The problems come. He's not a good defender. He's undersized to be a center. He's not really a rim protector. He can't move well enough to play out on the perimeter defensively. So you get kind of stuck. But I think when people look at it and are like, well, he's awful, he's not great in this setup because he doesn't have the right guys around him. I think he's overpaid for what he is. It's hard to have a big man that's paid that much that can anchor your defense. But I think I think if for his case, for probably 85-90% of the league, they would look at it and say, yeah, if it was a 1 or 2 years left on his deal, we'd feel a lot better about it. Where it's that 3rd year, I think that's where some teams are going to balk, and that's where it gets a little hard to move.
Keith, I remember last year, Keith Smith is with us. I remember last year watching ESPN, at the deadline, and their big story as the NBA trade deadline hit was Kevin Durant is not going anywhere. It wasn't what happened. It was what wasn't going to happen. How likely, if I may ask you, who knows? Don't want to put you on the spot, but how likely are we at the deadline tomorrow to see ESPN saying Giannis is not going anywhere?
Yeah, Thursday, to be clear. Let's not make it tomorrow. I'm not ready for if it's tomorrow. But yeah, I think I'm going to say 50-50 right now. There seems to be some motivation. We saw the Minnesota Timberwolves make a very interesting trade today where they got themselves under the first apron and got off some salary. We've heard they've been very aggressive that they want Giannis. And one of the things that's been kind of talked through with the Timberwolves is, well, they can't get there. There's no real path because they're over the apron. It's hard for them to make the money work. But now they're in a position where maybe they get something done. But it's also been said that Milwaukee's intention here is, let's canvass the league. Let's find out what everybody's offering. And then when we get into the summer, when it's easier to trade a guy who makes $54 million, when it's easier to make a big trade that's going to involve multiple players moving around, probably 3 teams, if we're looking at this the way it'll probably go down, it's just easier to do those things in the summer. We'll lay all the groundwork now, and then we'll execute come July. But normally I would have said it's like 80-20 that he won't go anywhere because it's always more likely that big of a trade. But there seems to be enough momentum here and teams seem to be lining things up that maybe we are closing in on a Giannis trade.
Oh, go ahead, Whitey.
No, I was just reacting.
I was going to say, Ja Morant, earlier on, Keith, you said that certain players nowadays, after a couple years, if they don't like what's going on, they'll just ask out. Well, Ja Morant is saying that if he goes anywhere, he wants to go to the Heat. He would not, re-sign Sacramento, whatever the case is, because right now he's looking like the Will Smith Fresh Prince of Bel-Air scene where nobody else is in the house. He's just there by himself because the Grizzlies have traded everyone. How much leverage does somebody like Ja Morant have right now? Is it just a bit of posturing? If the Kings were interested, would they actually be turned off from Ja Morant because of what he said with 3 years left on his deal, and how the Grizzlies would kind of react to Ja saying, well, I want to go to the Heat and nowhere else? How would all that actually play out?
Yeah, and if Jaws Will Smith in that situation, he's not in the house very often either. Let's just be reasonable about this. Like, that's the problem. If Ja Morant was healthy more often, there'd be much more of a market for him. And quite frankly, Memphis probably wouldn't be looking to do anything as far as trading him. That's the issue. Is you got to find a team that is gonna. Right, it's people in this league always look around and say, you know what, he hasn't been healthy for them, but he might be healthy for us. Let's make a swing. We can get him right. We can get him on the court. And that's happened with any number of players in the history of the league. So that's kind of where we're at with the Grizzlies with Ja Morant, where it is the Grizzlies are kind of looking at it and saying, all right, we canvassed, we put it out there. Ja Morant's available. We didn't get overwhelmed with trade offers because otherwise, you know what? He'd have been traded by now. And I think now what they might be looking at is, all right, in the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade, we got 3 first-round picks. We got in, some younger guys. Maybe now we can do more of what Trae Young went for, which is expiring salary and a nice role player, and we just kind of move on that way. They may be a little bit more open to that. Problem is, if he starts throwing around, I only want to go here and that's it, well, that's going to tank his trade value even deeper because then other teams are like, hey, I'm not trading for a guy who, if he's not happy, is he going to show up? What's it going to look like? I don't need that problem. And that's where I think from Memphis's side is like, hey, you can't do this. Like, you just got to be here, and go. And that's why I think the Grizzlies have almost turned to, all right, we'll figure it out. I think the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade today, though, really changed things from Memphis. I had kind of been in a spot where we're not going to see a Ja Morant trade. I think if we don't see one in the next couple of days, by Thursday, we'll see a Ja Morant trade over the summertime. I don't think we're going to see him play very much for the Memphis Grizzlies anymore.
How about that? Keith Smith. Yeah, by the way, trade deadline countdown, 1 day, 19 hours, 42 minutes, and 36 seconds. I know I got ahead of myself there. Keith, thank you. And listen, if you're, when a trade breaks and you're wondering, what does this all mean? Keith Smith is a great follow at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. Thank you, Keith. We appreciate your time and hope to talk to you again soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Great stuff, Keith.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Ja Morant's going to get traded? If there's only 2 teams that want him. No, I can't imagine it, Alan. I honestly cannot imagine. I should be able to. I can't imagine the Kings swinging that trade for Ja. I just can't imagine it.
Well, my biggest question is who would be the person behind it? Because everybody would say Ja's clearly of Avenger. I don't know what Avenger he is, but he's of Avenger. Is there any part of us that would think it was purely Scott Perry? And I think that's the bigger problem than actually acquiring Ja Morant. It's the optics of nobody believing that Scott Perry wanting to do this, even if he did.
Yeah.
Even if he did think, hey, 3 years left on his deal, we're giving up guys that we were trying to move anyway, and let's call it Malik and DeRozan. We got to protect it first. I don't know that the Grizzlies would do that. We had to do this. Nobody would believe that it was Scott Perry, even if it was. I don't know if that's a reason not to do it, but I think that's a bigger issue than actually bringing in Ja Morant.
One of the things that was disappointing that Keith touched on, he wasn't disappointing, but he mentioned something, and I realized he's right, and that's too bad. Scott Perry comes here and he brings a credibility and integrity, and he did that when he was here the first time. But since he's been here, there have been, let's face it, a number of things that the Kings have done or haven't done that have left you going, wait a minute, what? Some of that is going to happen. Sometimes it's just you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But a guy's playing, he's not playing. What are they doing? What about this guy? Why would they be talking about this trade? There's been too many of those things for an organization that needs to get away from some of those mysterious moves and needs to just present a unified, logical, and competent front.
Yeah, a lot of people were not happy when everything came out yesterday and the idea of, well, they wanted Dennis Schroeder, or they didn't know if Russell Westbrook was going to be, quote-unquote, available, meaning he would want to go to Sacramento. They thought he'd have other suitors, so they got Dennis Schroeder. Then once he became available, essentially, hey, we can't say no to Russ for a minimum. Well,
there you go.
29 other teams did.
Yeah, I know. And no matter what's really going on there, it's just the appearances, and that's why so many people, like I mentioned, Charles Barkley, nationally and even locally, fans, they just immediately, the Kings do something that makes you go, they don't know what they're doing.
Right. Even if maybe they
Yes,
do. I know,
yes.
look, we've talked to Brett and we've talked to Keith, and both of them, when it comes to DeAndre Hunter, essentially both of them have said, look, it's probably a little overstated that it was a terrible deal for the Kings. DeAndre Hunter is a good player, but it does feel like that's a separate conversation to why the Kings wanted DeAndre Hunter right now. Brett mostly said it's the same. He seems like the type of player that the Kings want, and are they still trying to build this culture thing? Whitey, I'm getting a little bit tired already. I mean, how long are we going to have to build this? How many guys are you going to bring in to build this culture now? You bring a lot of guys. Can somebody build the culture that's under 25?
This culture, it's like the ballpark in Vegas where you got the ballpark cams like, they ain't doing anything.
No.
Just
more
moving
culture.
around piles of dirt.
Yeah,
as far as building this culture.
You wanted to ban the dude in the Bay saying his name. Some of these terms they're going to have to get banned.
Mm-hmm. Did you send this text in, Alan? No, you don't have a 209 number, do you?
No.
Hybrid rebuild. Levine for Morant. Continue to tank this year. Get a top draft pick, and next year we can cook with Sabonis, Murray, Hunter, DeRozan, Morant, Bonsa, Boozer, or Flemings, and sign Keon as a free agent.
Boom. Text of the day. Captain of the hybrid rebuild. Whoa. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I'm just trying to protect everyone.
Yeah.
Because it might happen, the hybrid
I was
rebuild.
trying to stay on the road with that, continue to tank the and then sign Keon as a free agent. Nope, I'm out. Not gonna happen.
Keon ain't coming back, number one.
Not gonna happen.
Keon, you'd have to overpay him. Keon is not coming back to Sacramento.
But that's the scariest thing is you have to wonder if certain things fall in place, especially when it comes to the draft, if somebody with the organization might go,
Here's the other thing, though. We've talked so much about developing the youth, right? They have not done the press conference for DeAndre Hunter yet. Scott Perry is going to say what at this press conference, right? If they had went and gotten, I know you're not a fan, but they had went and gotten Jarris Walker, 22 years old, Scott Perry would say, we told you guys that we were trying to get younger. We told you guys we were trying to develop the young players. That's what we're doing.
Well,
Scott Perry is going to have that press conference, and he's going to say, we like what DeAndre Hunter does, and we think that he can help what? Winning.
And he's
winning.
He's younger than the guy that's Schroeder.
He's younger than Schroeder, not Keon.
So they got younger in that sense.
Tech and Saric, maybe Saric, I don't even know.
It's a good question. That they probably will emphasize him next to Keegan and length
culture.
in the front court
and culture.
Yeah.
And culture building.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because the clip we played yesterday of Scott Perry from his podcast, I assume at that time when he said all those things about DeAndre Hunter, he had no idea that he was going to be the GM of the Kings.
No.
But he's going to say a lot of those same things.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody said there's always a clip somewhere out there from Scott Perry about any of the players that end up on the Kings.
Don't forget my podcast.
There's always a clip. So that's what's funny to me. What they're going to say and how they're going to frame this move, it's going to be some version of, we thought that Keon, Dennis was great for us, but Russ came in and did his thing. And, Keon, we had that logjam we wanted to move on from. And anytime you have a chance to bring in a winning player like DeAndre Hunter, you're going to do it, even though that kind of goes against what he's been saying on the 8,000 shows.
Well, how does it go against what he's been saying? I'm with you.
Getting younger, and this thing is going to take
old.
But this thing is going to take time.
Yeah,
and all of that. DeAndre Hunter makes you better. I don't know, marginally right now, but I don't know how does he help you after you add on whatever draft pick you get. So next season, again, they're trying to sell us that they're not going to be in a position to get a 9 or 10 seed. They are. If they don't make some of these moves, they will be better.
Mm-hmm.
They will be. They'll be 9, 10, or 11.
Now, if you trade Domas, and I know that's not why you would trade him, you would trade him to get some things of value back, then that's out the window,
yes,
right?
You don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to do it. By the way, I got more information on that text that I got.
That you're not going to share with anybody?
Well, the information, I'll share it on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
right.
Some of it.
Yeah. Jerry Reynolds going to join us at 5 o'clock, top of the hour. Alan's got something for us?
It's
a little
something.
tidbit? Juicy
something.
morsel?
I would say so.
All right, one of Alan's juicy morsels next on Sactown Sports.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda. Yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
When a person is seriously injured, there's no substitute for the personal legal relationship offered by the local NorCal firm of Ashton and Price. From the first attorney meeting, every important decision is made with a direct consultation with, and I can't believe I have to say this, a real, live, experienced, flesh and blood local attorney. It's called Home Court Advantage for a reason. Ashton and Price, serious local attorneys for serious people with serious injuries with no fee until we win. For the best local advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's renter's insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
This year's tax changes. Better not get caught snoozing. Miss one deduction, lose thousands. Not amusing.
Big tax changes can mean bigger refunds at Jackson Hewitt. And right now, get $100 just to try us.
Don't worry, tax filers. If money is tight, get $100 from Jackson Hewitt, so you'll sleep better at night.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, Sunpoint Public Adjusters can help. Sunpoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call Sunpoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. Sunpoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revibe Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revibe today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revibe Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I'm from the Bay. I rep it hard. I'm known worldwide, but I blew up from my backyard. I'm from the Bay. That's Northern Cal. They like my songs, they like my smile, they like my style.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more.
The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Maybe you've seen this. By the way, Alan has a juicy morsel of information for us. Before we get to that, I think a lot of Kings are having these conversations, some of them internal dialogue. This is on X. Brendan Nunes, who does an outstanding job here, along with, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris Watkins.
Rising stars.
I forget the other guy's name.
Well, he's always
Frankie,
right.
of course.
The Yankee
Frankie.
fan.
Hold on, I'm getting a call. Brendan Nunes on X. This was 2 hours ago. I think the Kings should be willing to take on Pirtle's contract as long as it comes with reasonable draft compensation. 2 first-round picks. That's the type of move bad teams should be making, but not sure they're willing to embrace being bad for a few seasons. Zach Lowe's comb-over says Pirtle has $82 million guaranteed remaining after this year. Sabonis has $94 million guaranteed remaining after this year. Help me understand your math and why the Kings deserve 2 first-round picks. And Brendan comes back with, we just ignoring their on-court production or lack thereof. But anyway, that's a little snapshot, of course, of the back and forth that Kings fans are having with each other, and I think some Kings fans are having with themselves.
Yeah, and the reality is, and Brendan isn't necessarily saying the hybrid rebuild, but he is saying, I don't know if the Kings are willing to be bad. Are you willing to be bad? I mean, the Jazz, they made this move. They had talked about, and they're still going to be bad one more year and get a top 6, whatever it is. But the Jazz, they were bad. Mm-hmm. Like, the trailer came out for the Michael Jackson movie. Michael, who's bad? The Jazz were bad. And I don't know if the Kings, and even Kings fans, are willing to be bad. Even the most tankiest of tanky fans like Carmichael Dave, they'll say it. They're built for it. Are you really built for it, though?
By the way, is chili a soup?
Don't get me started. I had to text you because I make fun of Dave all the time on this show about the food talk, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, oh, Alan, you're just kind of, you're overdoing it with the Dave impressions. I'm taking my kid to daycare. It's her second day at daycare school. She's been great, okay? So a shout out, agent number 1. She's been awesome. I turned the car on. 9 o'clock. Obviously, a lot of trades hadn't happened yet, but it's still pretty
hot. The radio on.
Pretty hot in the streets.
Yeah.
Top of the hour.
Yeah.
9:01.
There we go.
So is chili a soup? They're doing the soup. He said the soup Mount Rushmore. And Jason's just having to have this conversation. I don't know what else they said. Clam chowder. They were doing the soup Mount Rushmore. I pulled over, immediately texted you, Whitey, and said, I'm not kidding you. This man is talking about chili and soup right now. Then he goes on to talk about some meal he was making, and you slowly pour in the egg whites. I'm thinking, oh my good! Like a lot of people say, Alan, it's so funny. When a comedian makes fun of someone or pokes fun, normally they bulk it up, right? They make it seem
exaggerate it.
They exaggerate it a bit. I'm not exaggerating.
You may be underplaying it.
Honestly. 9:01.
It's a very popular show, Alan, as you know.
It is.
Very popular show.
Sure. 9:01. We have meetings, hardcore meetings with our market manager, with our PD. How can we stay on top? And I pop on and I turn on the radio at 9:01.
That's the answer.
Is chili a soup?
There you go.
And he was dead
You don't
serious.
need the market manager. You don't need the PD. You just need Carmichael Dave.
No, you just need the soup Mount Rushmore. I'm like, okay, let me see what these guys are talking about. Yeah, so, and I like chili. I'm just not sure if it's a soup or not. Okay.
I actually texted him and asked him to do some soup trades. And he didn't answer.
No, he's not happy with us.
He didn't.
He's not.
He didn't
someone
answer.
said, it's chicken broth and ground pepper. He's like, and the main thing is you got to crush the ground pepper yourself. Can't use those cheap shakers.
Gotcha.
Oh, my goodness.
Gotcha.
I pulled over. I said, I have to text Whitey right now.
Yeah, the first half of your text was something about, I'm taking get in the car and take my daughter to daycare. And I'm like, okay. I mean, why are you? Yeah. And then I got part 2. Oh, okay.
Is
all
chili
right.
a soup?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's food related, but you have a juicy morsel for us.
I do. And here it is. Let me.
By the way, Dave, I understand, is not feeling tip top. So I hope he feels better soon.
After the show?
I heard that he has a cold or something. That's
why they were talking
chicken
about
noodle soup. That could be. Could be what led to it.
But that's okay. But then now it's 20 minutes about the soup. Now we're talking about the soup. Shout out David and shout out soup. So the mic drop from Brett Siegel earlier.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously,
thanks for having me on, guys, and look for an all-star to be traded tonight.
So obviously somebody guessed. There were some guesses coming through the text line. Is it Cat? Is it Karl Anthony Towns? That would be incorrect. Okay, it's more obvious than everybody thinks.
My guess was Harden.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, well, you could deny on Cat, but you can't deny Harden. All right, interesting.
Then I got something else from this unnamed source, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Something else that said, yeah, it's close. It's close. That's all I can say.
Okay.
It's close.
Okay.
So tonight, it's close. We're just, I'm like Nicolas Cage.
You said you had a juicy, that's the juicy morsel?
Yeah, that's it.
That whatever it is that you won't tell us, it's close.
But you know.
Okay.
You know.
Uh-huh.
You know what it is. It came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Last night.
Ah,
okay.
24-hour rule.
Yeah.
Get him out of there.
Huh. Mm-hmm. In a perhaps unrelated story, or maybe it is related, I think it would be ironic or just kind of unfortunate for Dennis Schroeder if he came to Sacramento, then they signed Russell Westbrook, then he got traded to Cleveland, and then they signed.
That's so funny. Yeah, but I mean, Garland's already there though, so it's not the same.
Got the bad toe though.
They were giving,
and wouldn't he be one of the guys traded?
Who?
Garland.
Oh yeah. No, Garland would be gone,
Yeah.
but it's still it's a point guard for a point guard.
Yeah,
but it's not the same because Schroeder is not being promised to be an all-star like he was in Sacramento. He's not ever going to be marketed like he was in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
I wonder if Malik's going to be a backup point guard now.
I hope.
I understand why Nee Clifford, they want him to play some point, but I don't know. To me, that's more something you do in summer league when he's just getting his feet wet. You want to put him in a position to succeed.
But this could be summer league for the rest of the season.
Yeah, maybe.
It looked like summer league a couple days ago.
Uh-huh.
Shout out Daquan Plowden.
He's not a point guard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But obviously they know what they're doing a lot better than I do. What do you think it is that Kings fans want at the deadline? What do they want the team to do? What do they want to see happen? I think they want contracts out and young players / draft picks in.
Well,
I don't know if they're going to get that, but I think that's what they want.
Yeah, I know what they want. I as far as specific players, I don't know that Kings fans need Domantas Sabonis gone. I think they just want someone gone. I think the priority list is pretty simple. I think Kings fans are not thrilled with Zach LaVine. I don't know that all of that is Zach LaVine's fault, but it just hasn't worked out. You're replacing, I always joke, Whitey, about Didi Gregorius. Okay, so Didi Gregorius.
Good glove.
He was great. He obviously was the shortstop after Derek Jeter. Mm-hmm. And, we would talk to Frankie about it, the Yankee fan, and Jason Ross as well. Didi Gregorius he had a really rough go in New York, not because he wasn't a good player, but because he followed Derek Jeter, the captain. Now, De'Aaron Fox is not Derek Jeter, but it was a losing situation for Zach LaVine immediately. And then they said, we also don't have a point guard, so we need you to play some point. So I just think it never worked out for Zach. Had the situation with the fan this season, and I think fans have kind of not soured on him, but would say, hey, it's okay, right? It came out, they were trying to get to Atlanta, trying to get to Milwaukee. So I think he's number one as far as fans are concerned. After that, I think people just look at it as contracts. Obviously, they don't want Malik Monk to go. I think fans, from my estimation, are pretty neutral on DeMar DeRozan and probably neutral on Domantas Sabonis as well. So that's how I would prioritize it.
The fact that they may be, whether you're right or not, you may be right. The fact that we can even have that conversation, that fans may be neutral on Sabonis, that's fascinating to me because it wasn't that long ago. It was him and Fox.
Right.
And people love them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people still do. And if you still do, good for you. I'm not saying everyone has abandoned Domantas Sabonis. It's like the text that you read earlier from, was it Scott? It's like,
yeah.
Remind me again why no one likes Sabonis again? How did we get to that point with him here?
Yeah, some of it is the Mike Brown / De'Aaron Fox stuff, I think. But then because it's funny, my buddy just texted me. He said, what happened with the Domantas Sabonis situation? He just texted me this a couple days ago. And he knew about the De'Aaron Fox, Mike Brown thing because he's a loyal listener out there in Seattle, one of my best buds. Shout out Tyler. But the other part of it that I said was for all this to happen and for him to kind of be maybe fairly or unfairly the face of the Mike Brown, De'Aaron Fox moving on, and now you're Doug Christie, for that to happen, then the very next season for you to be the most injured you've been in the last 3 years and the team is awful, that didn't help. If Domantas Sabonis was out there every night, 7th on the MVP ladder, third, in line for third team All-Star, I think fans might still be riding for him, but all that happened last season, and this season he's kind of been a no-show, so that hasn't helped.
Yeah, Jerry Reynolds, top of the hour. When we come back, interview with a Raider fan. Guess which Raider fan we're going to talk to? He's sitting right there.
I don't see him.
He's a Raider fan, too.
Ramsey's got 3 teams.
I know. At last count. Yeah. Are you a Raider fan? Interview with a Raider fan. Looks like they've got their next head coach all lined up. Jerry Reynolds, top of the hour. That and more coming up. Sactown Sports.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now during our President's Day sales event. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Come celebrate at Stockton Honda and get huge savings on our giant selection, plus top dollar for your trade.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Hey, well, I'm gonna say this, man. Ellis is terrible, man. Sacramento hypes this guy up, man, but he's terrible. He can't create his own shot. He's a one-way player. We got rid of him just in time because his value was just decreasing every time he stepped on the court. He's playing fly-by defense sometimes. He can't create out, like I said before. He don't have no jump shot. And in this league today, you need a two-way player. And they should have packaged him and Carter up. And, man, I'm out of here. I'm dropping the mic because them 2 players really hurt our team. I'm out.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks for hanging. Alan, to that point, I know yesterday you were asking me about Keon Ellis. Did they damage his trade value by not playing him? And obviously we don't know how he would have played. But I could see how if you're the Kings, and I think there was some ill will there going both ways. But I think they recognize, all right, that guy's coming off his best year.
Yeah.
So... yeah, maybe we don't play him. He's still coming off his best year.
Yeah. What did he shoot? 42? Something crazy like that from three-point range.
I disagree with Ken. He does have a jump shot, but he's not off the dribble. He's definitely catch and shoot.
I would say, to Ken's point, he is, in my opinion, he's a smaller Lou Dort. Right, Lou Dort, he ain't going to dribble. He doesn't create at all.
But that's a big difference. A smaller Lou Dort is not Lou Dort because
I agree.
That's a big part of what he brings you. Yeah,
that's why they didn't get a first.
Yeah,
and that's why. I mean, I think the conversation of whether or not they could have moved him in the summer, I don't. It's hard to remember what that conversation was. There wasn't a lot of smoke with moving Keon because at that time, that's why I had to ask Matt George about it. At that time, they thought we were going to salvage this relationship, and then it did not get salvaged. But, yeah, there wasn't a lot of trade conversation. So the idea of the Kings waited too long and Keon lost value, well, it was either the offseason or now. Nobody's making a trade in October.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they damaged his trade value by waiting. I think that they just ended up in a weird situation. Maybe some of that is on Scott Perry for adding 2 more guards and also drafting Neek Clifford, Devin Carter, and Keon are all kind of similar. So I think that's how they damaged it. I don't think waiting or not waiting is what damaged his value.
That number, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Gary joins us. Meow. Hey, Gary, you're on the drive, guys. What's up?
Hey, guys. Hey, I wasn't going to comment on Keon, but I think it's been a little crazy the way people have been talking about his trade value. He's always been a role player coming off the bench for a bad team. I don't think he had a lot of trade value anyway. But going back to your question before as to what Kings fans want,
Mm-hmm.
I think I've never wanted, and none of my friends want to get rid of Sabonis. Everybody thinks he's a really good player, and actually been excited by some of the taller lineups we had now that Cardwell, and Maxine have turned out to be pretty good players. What I don't like and haven't liked for a long time is the fact that we've got 2 off guards, both of which could be really good starters, and one's relegated DeRozan to play in small forward. He should be the off guard, or Levine should be the off guard, but you can't have both of them on the same team. It didn't work before on their prior team, and it isn't going to work for us. And that's all I got to say.
Bingo. 2 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, 2 for 2. I've been saying for a while now, if I were going to trade Sabonis, I would want 2 firsts. Doesn't look like they'd get that now. So would I settle for 1? Don't really want to.
Mm-hmm.
Might be talked into it. And then, yeah, you're right. The issues are with this roster is still all jacked up in a lot of ways.
It is. And
getting better, I'd like to think. And Scott Perry's doing what he can, but it's still kind of.
Yeah. Look, the DeMar conversation may or may not take care of itself. There was a crazy world. I'm just thinking about the team next season and Doug and the type of situation he'll be put in. Whitey, off the top of my head, just based on if with Dennis Schroeder gone now, right, they could still get Darren, whether they get Darren Peterson or not, there's a world where Russell Westbrook is on this team next season.
Come on.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Now, maybe if they got Darren, Russ would say, I'll take my chances somewhere else because he's going to get all the playing time. But they don't have, I know Malik will probably be on the team, but they don't have another point guard. They wanted a backup point guard. I did think about that. And think about it or if they don't get Darren Peterson and they get AJ DeBonsa, hey, Russ, teach him your ways. I don't think that's as insane as it probably should sound.
Well, it probably does, make some sense, especially if you figure next year's kind of a gap year again.
Yeah, right. Now, I think
so that's not,
Russ in his camp, I would assume, hope that somebody would be interested after what he did in Sacramento. I don't know if anybody's going to care about what they did in Sacramento. Whitey, I do have some quotes, though.
Some quotes for us.
Yes, I have 2 now. I read you 1 during the break. So we may have to postpone an interview with a Raider fan. We might have to.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, this is good stuff.
Okay.
This is good stuff. So the Cavs, I guess, wrapped up their first practice with Keon and Dennis Schroeder. So I got 2 sets of quotes for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to read Dennis's and then I'm going to read Keon's, okay? So Dennis, Keon and me are really excited to be with a team that compete on a daily basis. We're trying to bring the energy to Cleveland. Cleveland got a great fan base. I'm excited to play with the guys here, and they're special. We want to chip into it. Keon Ellis.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, compete every day.
Oh, yeah.
Let's face it, that's fair.
Keon Ellis.
Keon!
I'm excited.
What?
I'm excited.
I honestly haven't heard this yet.
I'm excited to be on a winning team. They're a great team with some good pieces. I'm playing hard every night and being a great teammate. I feel like I just play winning basketball night in and night out. That was probably them asking, hey, what do you think you bring to the table? They're so happy to be on the
This
Cavs.
is today, you said, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm excited to be on a winning team. Thank you, Sacramento.
That's fair, though. That's not a cheap
fair.
shot.
It's not a cheap shot, but I'm excited to get up out of here. But I will say, playing hard every night and being a great teammate. He's saying, let me do what I need to do.
Play
and
every night.
Exactly. No doghouse on bad teams. No, Keon has jumped Malik Monk, and then he sits the bench. Look, we don't know how much time Keon's going to get on that squad, but clearly they felt like it was a need. And, yeah, I'm excited for the guys. I'm really excited for, Saturday when they play the Kings. I think both guys will have something ready for the Kings. It's always funny when a trade happens and they immediately play them. But they're both excited to be in winning situations. Look, Dennis has been on both, right? Time and time again. He's on the Nets, who stink. Then he was on the Warriors. They tried to do something. He was not good. Then he gets to the Pistons, and they have a nice run. Keon's never been in a winning situation. The furthest they've gotten is a game away from the playoffs. So
He's
now,
been on winning teams because he was on the Beam team.
Okay, but contributing. Contributing.
Yeah.
So I think this is Keon probably is, like my first day at Sonoma State University. I mean, very, very excited.
Wait, we're bringing this back to you?
Well, I'm just saying I was very excited.
You don't normally do that.
I'm saying anybody, a kid on Christmas, whatever you want to call it. Keon looks very happy.
I thought you went to Temple.
I transferred.
Oh, okay.
But this is before the transfer portal.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot more difficult. Can't just hop around.
When you went to Sonoma State, what was their nickname at that time?
What do you mean? They're the Seawolves.
Okay, because they had been something else before that. I think, seriously, I think they were the Cossacks.
Yes, I do remember that.
So I was just wondering when I'd be.
No, they were the Seawolves.
Okay.
Shout out. Yeah, so I was there for a year, and then I made my way to Temple.
All right.
Yeah. They redshirted me.
Yeah. The thing with Keon, I don't know if he's feeling pressure. We like to say there's a lot of pressure on this guy or that guy or this woman. And I don't know if there's pressure, but he does have a lot to prove because he's in a new place and he's got opportunity. He's always responded to, the chance to prove himself while he's been here, but he's playing to prove to the Cavs and to the rest of the league that he's worth a lot of money when he hits free agency.
Yeah, and normally this goes in one of two ways. You either play out of your mind in a contract year or you kind of don't, and it affects the amount of money that you can get back. Because right now I'm just looking at the obviously Donovan Mitchell in conversations, Darius Garland. Keep an eye on that one. I'll just say that. Keep an eye on that one. But still, there would be a guard there, whoever that guard may be. So you have that, and then you have Strus, who they're running at the small forward. You got Lonzo, who I don't know what they're doing with Lonzo. So you'd have Dennis Schroeder, Lonzo, and then
I think they're ready to move on from Lonzo.
He might be gone in whatever deal is around the corner. Then you get, Dean Wade, 6'9", Sam Merrill, 6'4". So
somebody's going to say, it never worked with
Don't do it.
with DeMar
Don't
and
do
Levine, except for that stretch when they had Lonzo.
Apparently Lonzo's been terrible. Apparently it has not been good out there. But it looks like Keon will have opportunities. They really don't have kind of a defensive-minded guard that can guard 1 and 2. He can guard some threes, but they really don't have that on the roster right now. So I can see why they were excited to bring in Keon, probably more so than Dennis Schroeder.
We were just asking people, what is it you want to see here at the deadline? On the text line here, complete blow up, young draft pick, start over as long as it takes. I want the team to compete. Carmichael Dave tries to make a rebuild sound great, but it really is not. We have good pieces, and I think we can build quickly with what we have. Clearly do not want Zach here. I do respect DeMar and Sabonis, but they need to go for their sake and the Kings youngsters. Please unload Sabonis for Barrett to create him, Murray, Hunter, 2 through 4.
Don't gloss over that last one. I think we can build and compete quickly with what we have.
Do you really want that?
I don't, but
Okay.
I'm just preparing people that it's always an option. All you need is to get a top pick, and everybody's thought process is going to change. If you get a top 3, everybody's thought process is going to change.
When we come back, we'll talk to Kings icon who's, done this stuff. We all talk about, I do this, I do that. He's made trades, and he's done it for a living. The great Jerry Reynolds joins us when we come back to Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed. Shop now for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about Total Game Fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered player performance studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic ball fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports, 1140. Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
As you know, we had a flurry of trades in the NBA today during the Matt and Kayla show. Kayla and Matt show? Which do you think we should call it? The Kayla and Matt show?
I'm staying away from that one.
Okay. So we didn't know what was going to happen during our show. So far, nothing other than some indications. This could happen. That could happen. Where do the Kings go from here? What are we to make of the trade they already made? Let's find out, Alan, from somebody who's actually, done this stuff for a living. Guy who made the most famous trade in Kings history. Guy who brought Mitch Richmond here. Made that trade.
My guy.
Yeah.
All of our guy.
You could claim him as your guy.
He's our guy.
Yeah. I know Ramsey is setting him up here. Ramsey's having a nice conversation. Look, Ramsey's laughing. We're trying to get him on the air here. Ramsey's having a full-on conversation.
Well, look, man. It's Jerry, and obviously when you he's ready.
Kings icon, the great Jerry Reynolds. How are you today, Coach?
I'm doing good. Just like Alan said, fact is,
me and Mrs. Reynolds were driving down from Tahoe today, and we listened to you for, we've been listening to you, and it's really amazing. She seemed to actually enjoy you, but
wow, I was afraid to ask. Actually, I wanted to ask, but I was afraid.
Yeah. Well, she said, "Boy, those guys really know a lot about basketball, don't they?" And I said, "Watch it, hon. I mean, don't get carried away."
Well, that's nice. Did you hear anything that you wanted to correct or comment on today, Jerry?
No, I did listen to. I was interested in the take on John Morant.
Yeah,
and I think I'm with you guys. I don't like him. He hasn't been a good player, a productive player for 2 years.
Yeah,
can't shoot.
Yeah.
You need to be able to shoot.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's just not really John Morant anymore, right? He's not the same guy.
No, I mean. Yeah, if you got John Morant from 4 years ago, a difference maker. Mm-hmm. But, he's a difference maker now, but it's the wrong difference.
Yeah, it's not going in the right direction.
We've got enough of those difference makers.
Jerry, obviously, you've heard, well, I know you were up in Tahoe enjoying yourself. Hope you got the chains on the car if it's snowing up there. But DeMontis.
No, bright and sunny, buddy. Bright.
Oh, okay, even better. But Domantas Sabonis' name has been mentioned in these trade discussions. From where you're standing, Jerry, do you think the Kings actually want to move off of him, or do you think they just got to a point where it's, well, we kind of have to move somebody, so it's going to have to be you?
I kind of think that's about where it is. I think you kind of hit it. I mean, they really need to move some guys. I mean, if you're going to rebuild a team, you can't rebuild with the same guys unless something changes. I don't understand that. So, I think Domas still has value. I mean, he hasn't played as well or as much as he usually does, but I'm a big Domas fan. I think, people have a tendency to forget a little bit with him. And when he's at his best and used right, he's awfully good. Mm-hmm. And it'd probably be a long time for Kings fans see another like him. That'd be my guess. But if you can improve the team for the future by trading him, that I have no problem with it. I understand. I mean, I look at the standings every morning, and once you do that, I mean, the record is who you are.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Jerry, I know you and I have talked about this. We've got all these trades to talk about. I want to ask you about the trade they made, but you mentioned the standings. Where are you right now with the top players who'll be available in the draft? We don't know where the Kings are going to be picking with the lottery, especially now the way it's flattened with the odds. We don't know, but how do you like the big three and maybe anybody beyond that, players that are coming into the draft this year?
Well, I have watched the big three several times, each of them, and I will say this: I've changed. I've kind of come across to Whitey Gleason land. Peterson is awfully good.
Yeah,
he is just awfully good, and he's so smooth doing it. I mean, I really think, but the injuries worry you, and where that's all going. I mean, you'd have to have a lot of information there, but just the skill and the ease and the fluidity of his game, I think it's remarkable. To me, he's a better, smoother, more advanced version of Cade Cunningham when Cade was in college. And last time I checked, Cade's pretty good.
Yeah, and a good defender too, Jer.
Yeah, no, injuries is probably the only thing in my mind that could keep him from being a major star. And as you gentlemen have wisely pointed out, the Kings could quite easily use a major star.
I think there's room.
He would fit in. They may have to split minutes with Westbrook. I don't know. I'd like to believe that wouldn't be the case, but
you never know. Got to earn your stripes, Jerry.
You just don't know. You're right, Alan. You're right. You don't know. You don't want to take anything for granted.
Yeah. Jerry, we haven't gotten to chat with you since Keon and Dennis Schroeder heading off to Cleveland. Before we get to the DeAndre Hunter piece, I wanted to get your thoughts on Keon Ellis. A lot of times we'll bring up that some fans, even myself included, wearing purple lens sunglasses and maybe overvaluing some good stories like Keon Ellis. Where did you have Keon when it comes to the type of player he is and some of his deficiencies? It feels like there's some fans now going in the other way, thinking, well, Keon was overrated the whole time. We were never going to get a first rounder. Where did you have Keon kind of graded as a basketball player?
Well, I can't speak to value. That's always eye of the beholder and other teams. No, all I'd say this. Mark me down with the purple glasses. Yeah, I think Keon's the kind of guy that could be a valuable contributor on a big-time winner. And not everybody on the current roster, in my mind, fits that. Now, it's a little bit like the Oklahoma City or Indiana teams of last year, where they have guys. I don't see him as a starter on a 50-plus win team, but I think he could be a valuable contributor on that.
Hey,
and
Jerry, excuse me,
Yes.
one moment. Please hang with us. We have breaking news we need to share. Just take one
When
second.
it breaks,
Sure.
We have it first.
It's Sactown Sports breaking news.
Breaking, the Los Angeles Clippers are trading James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a second-round pick. Sources tell ESPN a prolific swap of star point guards from Shams Charania. So James Harden headed to Cleveland, Darius Garland headed to L.A. to join Kawhi. And, yeah, this was the one, Whitey.
Yeah,
This was the
okay.
one that I got the text.
Jerry, we apologize, but yeah, we had to get that on the air. So Dennis Schroeder.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Dennis Schroeder, he comes to the Kings. They bring in Westbrook. They trade him to the Cavs, and they bring in Harden. How about that for Dennis Schroeder?
Well, so Harden's going to be backing up Schroeder. Is that what you're saying?
As you said, you never assume anything. Never.
You don't know. No, it's. But James Harden is such a saga, isn't he? Though.
Yeah.
Talk about and I'm sure that the Clipper thing, they're playing good and everything. It's like somebody probably told him, we're not going to give you an extension, of what you want or something like that. But I think probably both teams come out of that pretty good.
Yeah.
Garland, if he ever gets healthy, will be a nice player. Maybe not quite the impact that Harden has when he's at his best, but at least you got a reason to believe you can go forward with him. And then, Harden and Donovan Mitchell can, probably get into a fist fight for the ball there at times. And poor Mobley will just, he's going to have to improve his offensive rebounding.
Yeah. Yeah, Jerry, that's exactly what happened. Harden, I believe, was looking for a 2-year extension, but as has been the theme in the NBA these days, a lot of teams just don't want long-term money, whatever is considered long-term. And once that happened, Harden said, okay, well, then get me out of here. So I would imagine the Cavs will be signing Harden to that extension. But yeah, that's kind of what started this conversation. And yeah, Jerry, going back to kind of your days and all this stuff, the player control thing has always been interesting because there was a while when Kyrie, KD, James Harden, they were all kind of saying, well, get me out of here. And people were a bit worried about player control. And no, none of these players are going to honor their contracts anymore. But it's a little bit overstated, right, Jerry? Because there's only, I don't know, at any point in time in the league, there's only about 15, maybe 20 guys that have that control. De'Aaron Fox shouldn't have had that control, but the Kings allowed him to have that control. But yeah, Harden kind of specific in that way, Jerry, where he can just say, okay, well then get me out of here. And the Clippers will say, okay, because they didn't want to pay him. That seems to be how both sides wanted this one, huh, Jerry?
Oh, I think so. And I mean, and it's a good point there on the number of players who really, have what it takes to kind of force the issue, and it may be even fewer than that. And I think with Harden, my guess is, and I could be wrong, but I'd be willing to bet you that the Clippers had enough anyway.
Yeah.
They're ready to say, let's, okay, before we start this stuff, let's see if we can get something that works for us. And so I think not that Harden didn't want out, but I think I suspect they wanted him out too.
Yeah.
It a little bit goes both ways sometime. These players and agents. Anyway, it'll probably work out for both. And if Cleveland wants to give him a new 2 years deal, then what they may be watching a dead horse play point guard in 2 years.
Well, speaking of the Cavs, of course, the Kings pulled off that trade with the Cavaliers. I've heard some people say the opposite, Jerry, but the Kings definitely got the better player in that DeAndre Hunter trade, right? We all love Keon, but I don't know. You would know better than I. But the Kings got the best player in that trade, didn't they, in DeAndre Hunter?
I think they did.
Yeah.
I like DeAndre Hunter a lot. This year wasn't a good year for him, but I followed him. I really liked him out of college, and of course he was picked where he's picked, right? Yeah. Fourth or fifth, whatever. And his third or fourth year in Atlanta, he was really good. And I think there's no reason he shouldn't be able to bounce back and be very good. You'd like it if he was 26 instead of 28 or whatever. But I think the Kings, did get the best player in the deal. Of course they, basically had to give away a good player in Keon Ellis to kind of make it work. And I wouldn't change my mind on Keon. He's going to be a nice piece for somebody, for that team or somebody else, and going to play a long time. Obviously, Schroeder was kind of a mistake, and so they were cutting their ties there. Mm-hmm. And probably Keon was the piece that allowed them to cut their ties from the Schroeder mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, we've been going back and forth, and if you were listening to us, and you probably heard us mention...
He wasn't listening. His wife was.
Oh, that's true.
He was doing something else.
That's true.
Yeah.
You probably heard us mention hybrid rebuild, and I bring that up because DeAndre Hunter is a good player, and he makes sense next to Keegan. Not sure who's going to play the 3, who's going to play the 4, but going into next season, is there a little bit of contradiction here with what Scott Perry is saying as far as this thing taking time and tearing it down to the studs and bringing in somebody like DeAndre Hunter? Jerry, dare I say, aren't they going to be better next season?
I'll tell you what. I mean, and I know you, to be fans out there, think it's finally happened. I went over the edge, but in truth, if Keegan was healthy and DeAndre Hunter and Sabonis was healthy, and maybe you could move off, one of the probably DeRozan, that sort of thing. You got Levine and you got Peterson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I tell you, you might be damn good next year.
I'm telling you.
I know. I know fans out there think, well, he's lost his. But I'm saying a special player, because you got some. I mean, there's, Levine playing with somebody that can get him the ball in the right spots. And I think, Peterson, Sabonis used right can do that too. Get him moving off screens, get him away from dribbling the ball, which he ain't very good at. Mm-hmm. But he's awfully good at shooting the ball. Mm-hmm. and so, there's that. It fits better. I mean, the roster actually, and they've got, with the young bigs, there's definitely something there, hope there. And, I still like Precious Achiuwa, too. I thought that was a nice pickup. Gives him another athletic guy who can guard somebody occasionally. And I don't want to get too carried away, because the truth is, if in my mind, if you didn't get that guy, even as good as Boozer and Dubanska are, they're probably a little more down the road guys.
Yeah. You've made trades, and there's lots of things that can make a trade easy or difficult. Coming to terms with the team, just personal feelings. I'm wondering if you would share with us, of all the trades you made, for whatever reason, what would you say was the either the trickiest or just the most difficult trade for you to pull off?
Well, it was probably the Mitch Richmond trade because of just what was involved. You know, the rights to Billy Owens, everybody thought was a sure major star, and then of course Mitch, who had already kind of established he's on that road. But the fact that Mitch, under those circumstances, wanted to come, and he was so well liked on the Warriors. You know, it was a case of kind of stalling around. Yeah, we're going to do the deal. Then I'm not sure we're going to do the deal. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because Nelly pinning Nelly down is, can be a little difficult, is what I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I told I told Nelly he was going back. I told Nelly, one of those Jack Nicholson guys, I said, "You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall." But yeah, that was, and then after the trade was made, it was really unpleasant for a while because Mitch didn't want to be there.
Yeah,
and he wasn't a fan of Dick Motta's offense, which nobody was, but then finally, of course, after he got here and got to play, and then realized he could do what he wanted to do, which was score when he had the ball. It all seemed to work pretty good after that. But it was, a lot of unpleasantness behind the scenes, and that was also true when I traded for Spud Webb. I know my wife and I picked him up at the airport, and he really didn't speak. He just grunted a few things, and because he didn't want to leave Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, then he became extremely happy here, loved it here, and I used to always kid him. I said, you wouldn't speak at first for about a month, and then I can't get you to shut up after about 6 months. But a great guy. But that's the personal side of it. That it's no different than person changing jobs and taking a job or being forced out of a job into another one, having to move, things like that. And so those came to mind that very difficult after the trade for a while.
Mm-hmm. Well, as always, we appreciate your insight, especially I didn't know you were traveling today, so thanks for making time for us. Please thank Mrs. Reynolds for for listening today. We appreciate that.
Well, I will tell her because it really was kind of unusual for her to pay that close attention, but she knows that you were really on her side in the turkey wars, and so that meant a lot to her.
Good, that's good. By the way, before we let you go, who do you like? Who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
It will be the Seattle Seahawks will win the Super Bowl, and I'm not a big fan of either team, but just the fact that I want Sam Darnold to win just to shut everybody up, get off his back.
There you go.
Right.
Just get off his back, just like we want people off our backs.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Jerry. We'll talk to you soon. We appreciate it.
All right. See you guys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We had the breaking news.
Yes.
I know that was Brett Siegel, right? Said that we might have that during our show. And I knew that's what you were talking about, Alan.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah, I did.
I know you did.
Yeah.
But what I want to talk about, and great stuff from Mr. Reynolds, as always, a legend. What I want to talk about now, and what I'm essentially firing up, is does this affect DeMar DeRozan's path to the Clippers at all? So
I didn't know there was one.
Well, I mean, the conversations had come up, and then they stalled because the Clippers started winning too much. So they felt like they didn't need DeMar. First, they lost too much to need DeMar. Then they won too much to need DeMar. You're bringing in somebody in Darius Garland who, he's a point guard, but he likes to shoot. He's a shooting point guard, if you will.
And he's also got some health issues.
Well, I would say between him and Kawhi, DeMar is kind of that Band-Aid, if you will, or the break in case of emergency. If Kawhi has to miss time, Darius Garland misses time, then it's a DeMar DeRozan night.
So you're
so
seeing
that's
this
how
potentially opening up that avenue.
In my opinion, because you have two guys, James Harden, pretty consistent as far as his playing time. James Harden is going to play when he feels like playing. He's very, very healthy. He was, All-NBA last season at 36 years old. He balled out. Darius Garland's going to miss some time. So you pair him with Kawhi Leonard, whatever they're trying to do this season, I think you would bring in DeMar. Like I said, these guys, between the two of them, Garland and Kawhi, they're going to miss time. And DeMar is that guy where you pair him, and I don't know if you still want John Collins at this point. Shout out Kyle Draper.
Never did.
But you bring DeMar in and you say, okay, if Garland's got the toe thing or Kawhi is doing the Kawhi thing, DeMar, take us where we need to go. So that's my initial thought on this.
Okay. Yeah, and the breaking news, we just shared it a few moments ago. You probably heard by now. For those who haven't, Clippers are trading James Harden to the Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a second-round pick, sources tell ESPN. I'll tell you what, with James Harden, I know he's a phenomenal talent. I don't understand why teams continue to invest heavily in him when he's shown that once he sees either something better off in the horizon or he feels like his avenues are closing up, he's going to force his way out.
Yeah.
And he just has never really done much in the most important games in the postseason. I know he's just prolific, but that's why I don't understand. I don't have anything against him, and he doesn't defend great. I know he does wonderful things offensively, but everywhere he's been, he's there for a while. They don't necessarily win a lot. And then when he wants out, he's going to force his way out. Why did teams sign up for that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm looking here. One of the reasons why the Cavs may have decided to do it, the Darius Garland thing. I mean, there was the whole conversation going into last season. It's either him or me with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. And they said, okay, we'll both just stay. And it just ended up being okay. But with Donovan Mitchell, their question is he's got that player option for $53 million in 2027, 2028. But their question is whether or not he would sign another extension with them, and they don't know that that's going to be the case. So the Cavs, funny enough, Whitey, going back to your conversation of sustainable winning, all of a sudden now the Cavs are staring the big move that they made, all the picks that they gave up for Donovan Mitchell. The Cavs are staring this big move that they made in the face. And now, from what I'm reading here, a lot of people believe this is the Cavs saying, hey, this could kind of be our last hurrah. And James Harden is more consistently on the floor than Darius Garland. James Harden, and Keith Smith went back and forth about James Harden wasn't extension eligible. But the idea of him just signing a straight-up new contract with the Clippers maybe wouldn't commit to that. So he said, okay, just get me out of here. So James Harden has this season and then a player option next season. If it lines up the way you think it might line up, that's 2 years with Harden and Donovan Mitchell. This year with no Tyrese Halliburton and no Jason Tatum. And then you have Donovan Mitchell on a player option for that third year, and James Harden would be a free agent. So essentially, long story short, 2 years for the Cavs to go after it with this group, with the trade that they made in Donovan Mitchell, and then they are assuming they're going to have to trade Donovan Mitchell, or he's going to be an expiring contract in that last season, and James Harden would already be gone.
Yeah.
So they're giving themselves 2 bites at the apple with a guy that is more consistently on the floor, and James Harden at 36 years old, than Darius Garland.
This has been a disappointing year for them, and they've started playing better lately. But, last year they saw themselves as a legitimate contender. And as you pointed out, you've got opportunities now in the East with Halliburton out, with Tatum out, and I think they are wondering why they haven't been able to kick things into gear. So maybe this is an effort to try to get them back. A little risky, but an effort to try to get them back on a potentially championship path.
But if you look at it, James Harden, 2 years is nothing. He doesn't get annoyed until year 3 or year 4.
But how old is he now?
He's 36.
Yeah, okay.
But he's probably played more games than Darius Garland. That's the problem, right? I mean, I hear what you're saying, but
because at some point teams are going to get annoyed with him before he gets annoyed with them.
Probably.
If he can't play anymore.
Yeah, but again, it's 2 years. 2 years of going for, and this is one of the years, by the way. So this year and next year, that's it, right? And they get off a contract, and Darius Garland has, including this year, 3 more years left on the deal, and he just misses time. He had the eye thing, and then obviously the toe thing has been hanging around. Right now,
well, the eye thing wasn't he got smacked in the eye?
And it looked terrible for a very long time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
It's not like he had macular degeneration or something. Somebody smoked him in the eye.
Yeah, bad luck. Sometimes bad luck. LaMelo's eye was bleeding yesterday. He ran into his coach.
Yeah.
Give him a break. The Cavs are the 5 seed right now. They're 7.5 games back, but more importantly, they are tied record-wise with the Raptors for the 4 seed.
The Raptors are going to look at that. Ooh, look what Cleveland did.
Hey, how does it all connect back to Domantas Sabonis? This is great. Whitey, now we have our show for tomorrow. Thank you so much. I didn't even catch that connection. They're 2 games back of the Celtics and the Knicks, the Cavs. So they're having a rough season compared to last season. They're not going to catch the Pistons, but they're not really in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm. How about the notion that I know you and I both shared that, this deadline's going to be a deadline? Deadline's not even here yet.
I just got a text.
Oh, yeah?
Somebody just texted me an emoji, a mic. Just a mic emoji from the mic drop.
Oh, I see.
Uh-huh.
I got
Oh, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. How does this all connect back to Domantas Sabonis and the Raptors?
Yeah.
Whitey, you are a legend. That was outstanding. Now I got to tweet about that during the break.
Okay, yeah. You got, you found your way onto Hoops Hype with one of your tweets, which was, here's what Sam Amick said. And I'm scrolling on Hoops Hype today for Kings information, and there's one of your tweets, and I'm looking at it. It's just, here's what Sam Amick
the notes?
said. Yeah.
That I texted you?
It was just everything that Sam Amick said.
It's awesome. There you go. I'm telling you, man. It's the big show.
Yeah. If the Kings are going to tank, or however you want to phrase it, those efforts may be hitting a roadblock in the weeks to come. We'll look at that, and we'll break down more on what may happen with Domantas Sabonis as we roll on here. Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revibe Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revibe today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revibe Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Granger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
If your business depends on reliable vehicles, it's time to upgrade your fleet at myelkgrovechevrolet.com. We specialize in fleet pricing, bulk discounts, and fast approvals, so your team stays on the road and on the job. From work trucks and vans to fuel-efficient sedans and SUVs, we have the inventory, service, and financing to keep your business moving. Call or visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com today and ask about exclusive fleet savings. myelkgrovechevrolet.com. Driving business forward.
Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Welcome to Tanking Today. We'll take a quick look at how the tanking teams are faring tonight across the association. So, Alan, we're looking at the Pacers, right? The Pacers are a team we're keeping an eye on. No, I mean, if we're, because the Kings, you want the Kings to end up with the
Oh,
best
yes,
team.
yes.
Yeah, when you look at the tanking teams, 6:04 left in the third quarter. The Jazz are leading the Pacers 79-76. Jazz is a team that's also got to avoid winning too much to hang on to their first-round pick, which is top 8 protected, or else it goes to OKC. We have the Wizards. Oh, they're doing a great job of tanking tonight. 10:57 left in the third quarter. The Knicks are leading the Wizards 76-50.
Dang.
That's tanking. That's tanking. How about the Nets?
50.
5:24 left in the second quarter. 5:24 left in the first half. Lakers leading the Nets 62-30.
I mean, everyone is just not messing around right now.
That's right.
They watched Derek Peterson over the weekend.
Yep.
They said, all right, let's get our bleep together.
63-30 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you have been talking about this for a while. Look this up today. The Kings are finally getting some schedule relief. They've played the league's toughest schedule through January, but will play just 6 of their next 19 games against teams with winning records. So their strength of schedule, they're way down towards the bottom over the next month or so, which on the one hand is like, well, it's about time. On the other hand, when you're trying to tank, Alan, you start bringing in R.J. Barrett or, DeAndre Hunter. You got to be careful if you're trying not to win too many games.
Yeah, and by the way, if anybody's wondering what's going on with Keegan, going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. So 2 more weeks of a different type of, or before we see maybe a different type of log jam. But you're right, Whitey. We're getting closer and closer to March and April, and there are going to be some pockets here where the Kings are going to have some easier games. Now, I will say this: I know a lot of Kings players did not play, but did watching the Kings against the Wizards give you some hope? Man, this team can find a way to lose to anyone.
Was so strange.
This team could lose to anyone. It should make you feel a little bit better. But when they get some of these guys back, obviously they did have DeMar and Zach, but you get Keegan back and reevaluated in a couple weeks, and Domantas Sabonis kind of just playing every other game at this point. Yeah, it's going to get dicey, and if these guys aren't traded, Brett Siegel gave it a small percent chance that DeMar gets moved, essentially zero, outside of anything can happen, that Levine gets moved. Are we going to see more night off type deals and just figure it out that way?
You call him Brett Siegel. I call him Mike. Mike Drop.
Mike Drop, man.
That's what I call him.
I mean, he was, the text that I got, he did send the Mike Drop, and then we got it. But, yeah, I think that there's going to be some very awkward situations, and not even awkward because they know what it is. I think it's just going to be weird. Just weird. And if you're a prop talker out there, Schmal and Miles and the crew, stay away from the Kings. They're banned. Save your cheese for something else, because even if they play, a couple weeks, last week, Sabonis just didn't play the fourth quarter, right? You just don't know what's going to happen.
I wonder if Devin Carter isn't moved, it doesn't look like he will be. We'll find out soon enough. Is he going to play more at all? I mean,
why not? He got in there.
I agree.
Right? He got in there last game.
Yeah. Do you remember Friday? My stone cold lock.
That's right.
Put it in the bank.
Yeah.
Was Devin Carter was going to score 4 points. Put up 5.
There it is.
Put up 5.
There. Lock it in. I think we might see more of him, but it also depends. Are they going to continue to run Neek at the point? And I guess right now they don't really have a choice. They could run Devin at the point a little bit as well. This is full-blown summer league, though. I mean, this is some summer league type stuff right here.
Yeah. Sacramento right now, 12-39. They're in worst place. Half a game worse than New Orleans and a game and a half worse than Indiana. Brooklyn, 2.5 worse than Brooklyn, and also Washington. But I think tonight's an indication that some of these teams are thinking, if you thought we were tanking before, you ain't seen nothing yet.
No. No, this is where it gets real.
We're going to try to play, like 4 guys out there and see if we get away with it.
Yeah.
Things
if someone got hurt
like that.
Hey, get kicked out.
Yeah.
Just get kicked out. Yeah, it's going to get dicey. And you know what's funny is that it is parallel to college basketball heating up. So there are going to be more primetime games, the conference championships, the conference tournaments, obviously March Madness. People are going to be paying attention more. So these guys are going to be on bigger stages. And I do think it's going to maybe not actually NBA team, but I do think it will affect how fans are reacting to it. No, we don't want to see this dude. Darren Peterson's going off again in the Big 12 championship. So I do find it funny how those two things are kind of running with each other as the NBA kind of ramps up, but bad teams have to ramp down. March Madness in college basketball is going to be more in the forefront, and fans might just turn into, you got to stop winning games.
Yeah, I was in some ways relieved to hear Jerry talk about Darren Peterson in such glowing terms, because it's been weeks since I talked to Jerry about the top players, but I believe the last time I talked to him, he liked the top 3. He's like, oh, they're great, but I think he was leaning more to Bonsa at the time. Mm-hmm. So today to hear him say, oh, yeah, Peterson, Jerry's been a scout. He's not just like us, like, I don't know, that guy made a shot.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear now. I know that we're going to spend a lot of time in the weeks to come talking about if the Kings get Peterson. Alan, if the Kings end up with one of the 3 worst records, there's going to be an 86% chance that they don't get him.
Right. It's crazy.
So they're probably not going to get him.
Yeah.
And if they don't, a lot of us are going to be, I can't believe it. The system is set up so that you probably are not going to get him.
Yeah, and I think, again, going back to how – and Jerry brought up Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
He said he was
heard that one.
Smoother than Cade Cunningham in college.
That one. Yeah.
That's from Jerry Reynolds. That's not us. That's Jerry Reynolds. But, I do wonder –
I have heard some bigger name comparisons.
What, Anthony Edwards?
Bigger name comparisons.
How big?
You haven't heard those? This isn't me.
Okay.
You haven't heard the bigger – who are the biggest names you could compare him to?
Right now? Or in
all time?
Don't do that.
I'm just telling you.
I heard more. The more efficient Kobe.
Yeah. And MJ.
Yeah. You know what?
I'm not saying he's that, but people have thrown that around.
You know what's so weird is this season is going to turn into from you get any of the top 10, you're good, to if we don't get Derek Peterson, we're cooked.
Well, I do think that, like Jerry said, he said the other 2 in the top 3, they're really good, but more. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
And Peterson is more like he has the ceiling, and yet he's already an excellent player.
Here's the quick breakdown for me, and we'll talk about this a ton as we get throughout the season. But Darren Peterson is Darren Peterson, right? I wasn't on the train early, but he looks great. Cam Boozer, you could add him to your squad. You don't know that he's going to be the guy for you, but he's solid. And because you might not be looking at him to be the guy, there's an understanding there. DeBonsa is the questionable one because you could be looking at him thinking, are you going to be the guy for us? And he might not be that.
Yeah.
So he's actually, to me, turning into the scariest of the 3 because Darren Peterson is Darren Peterson. Cam Boozer, you kind of know who he is, and hey, maybe he does end up popping at this level, but we might need to find a 1A for him. That 1A doesn't have to be outstanding, but just a little bit more score-centric than him. The Banter, you're going to bring him in and expect that he can be the guy, and if he's not that, I don't know where he fits as a role player because now you're, by the way, going to 2027, that's looking pretty thin. So if you get unlucky in 2027 and that's thin, Whitey, you might be looking back saying, should have done the hybrid rebuild.
That's a song. I'm with you. I think DeBonsa is a living, breathing example of why the NBA draft is so fraught with peril, and that is he's 19, and he looks like he could be a great player, but he also, you watch him sometimes like, that kid's 19.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's going to be. No one knows who he's going to be. Yeah, the upside is there, but, there's a lot of room for growth, and he's very unpolished.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's terrible. He's not. He could be great. But there's just with a guy that young who hasn't played that much, he plays in high school, 1 year in college, like, there's a really good chance he's going to be really good. There's also a legitimate chance that he's not going to be what people think he's going to be.
You know what I would also say?
Because he's so young.
Yeah, I do think that situations matter. And from what I've seen from Darren Peterson, he ain't scared of the moment, right? If you come to Sacramento, there's a lot of history. There's a lot of bad history, right? Where is your mental state at? I trust Darren Peterson just based on what I've seen. I don't like the injured, non-injured stuff. But when he's on the court, he looks like he's a dude who's not afraid of the moment. When I look at Cam Boozer, look, the Duke thing, I think it matters, right? Again, not sure about his ceiling, but I think mentally he would be able to handle the fact that everybody in Sacramento is counting on you. Debanza, maybe this isn't fair, just from what I've seen from him. Again, he's just 19, right? And he looks like somebody where you would say, all right, it's going to take him some time. Like, he ain't going to come into the league, in my estimation, and do what Cooper Flagg is doing. I don't see that.
No, the shot needs some work.
Yeah, I don't see that at all. Mm-hmm. So, but I'll take any of the three.
Yeah, me too.
And I think what's going to happen if I had a crystal ball, and we can cut this if I'm right, and we'll delete it forever if I'm wrong, I think Debanza is going to slide. I think with that BYU team, he's going to keep seeing double, triple teams as we get into the Big 12 tournament, and a lot of these, and they're playing better teams. I think he's going to get clamped up a lot. I think he's going to slide, and that doesn't mean he's not going to be a really good player.
Yeah.
But somebody is going to – there's going to be a sexy name that emerges, a Caleb Wilson, a Kingston Fleming. Somebody's going to bump over him. I just got a weird feeling, Whitey.
Yeah, it might be your guy, right? He might be the riser.
Who?
Of Thalas.
Neo? No, not after. I might be off that. You know how many people commented?
You're off that already?
You know how many people commented when I said, oh, I get to watch my boy Neo and Cam Boozer? All the comments, hey, just like draft people commenting, hey, just curious, what are you seeing with Neo? I liked him early, but hasn't had a great season. What are you seeing? I just like what he's done.
And I know you texted me. What did they say on the telecast? He's had problems with his shot all year?
Yeah, all year. So he ain't going in the first round. Maybe we can get him in the second with Grant Nelson.
All right, the latest on whatever's going on with the Kings and the trade deadline. When we come back, wrap things up. Sactown Sports.
Injured and you're considering an LA law firm looking to charge you 45% to 50% in attorney's fees? That's overcharging. Ashton and Price has been around for over 25 years, and I can tell you no matter how complicated your injury case, you should never be charged 45% or 50% in attorney's fees ever. Direct, experienced, unrelenting, and honest local representation matters. It's called Home Court Advantage for a reason. Ashton and Price, serious local attorneys for serious people with serious injuries. So for the best local advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
This year's tax changes. Better not get caught snoozing. Miss one deduction, lose thousands. Not amusing.
Big tax changes can mean bigger refunds at Jackson Hewitt. And right now, get $100 just to try us.
Don't worry, tax filers. If money is tight, get $100 from Jackson Hewitt, so you'll sleep better at night.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
With Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles on Sactown Sports 1140.
Here's what some of the scouts on YouTube think of the players we're talking about. Chuck Lee says, Peterson looks 35 years old to me. He might have those 39-year-old legs, huh?
Well, I will say this. You could tell somebody's a real hooper because I don't even know what type of shoes he's wearing. They're not black Air Force Ones, but he's always wearing just all black shoes. That just says hooper to me. He's not worried about the swag. He doesn't got these bright shoes. Just I don't even know if they're nice. I don't know what the heck they are. So to me, that man is about his business.
Dean says Peterson reminds me of Gilbert Arenas.
Mm-hmm.
He also says AJ reminds me of T-Mac. Speaking of Darren Peterson in Kansas, Ramsey just came in. We were having this conversation. And I know that TC has mentioned this on the show as well. This whole notion of, Peterson went to Kansas. You got to stay away from guys from Kansas. He just got there. He hasn't even been there a year.
Yeah.
Is that really a thing? I have a hard time putting much stock in that.
There was I think it was a comedian who said, yeah, dudes can have fun just hanging out and throwing out athletes' names. And then you say, Derek Carr, Fresno State. I don't know that you can do that anymore. And obviously Darren Peterson's going to be one and done. But, yeah, the idea of the legacy of Ohio State QBs are never good and can't trust Kansas players. I don't know how much that matters anymore.
Yeah. And maybe it does, but I have a hard time putting much stock
Paul Pierce?
in that.
Paul
exactly.
Pierce? Mario Chalmers?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Mario Chalmers.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah. They got guys.
Come on, guys, from the 916. Come on, guys. The Kings could use 10 guys like Harden.
Look, I got into it with Carmichael Dave about this.
Oh, I know he doesn't like Harden.
Yeah, during the offseason, because I said, who are you to say no to James Harden?
Uh-huh.
And he, a lot of his, I guess, morning listeners that were, on social media, they were all kind of riding with him that they wouldn't want James Harden.
Oh, it's like a cult. It's the Carmichael Dave cult.
That they don't want James Harden. I don't love James Harden. My point was, how are you going to say no to? It's the same thing we talked about earlier. Who are you to say no to James Harden right now?
That's one of the things you never have to worry about here in Sacramento.
No.
James Harden wants to come here. What do you think?
No shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised he's even doing Cleveland. Because he's kind of a not big city guy, but I think he likes the glitz and the glamour a little bit.
Now, what did you think of what Jerry had to say about Ja, which is just like, it's not Ja anymore.
I agree.
You still in? You still 100% in on Ja?
I'm not in on. I've never been in on Ja. I don't.
Somebody keeps bringing it up.
I'm not in on Ja because I'm just not saying I'm out on Ja because the Kings haven't said they're out on Ja.
That's
so
true.
I'm being
You're
very
right.
cautious.
That's true.
As to what I say about Ja because hopefully we could be interviewing him in a couple weeks here.
Now, in all fairness, I have to also point out, that Jerry said, some of those hybrid rebuild people, they may be on to something.
I know.
Depending on how things break.
Yes. If you get Darren, which again, you have a decent chance at doing it as of right now, but the numbers are the numbers and anything can happen. Look at what the Mavs ended up with. So if you got Darren, maybe you reassess things. But to Jerry's point and to your point, you get anybody else.
Yeah. Jerry and also Ramsey are concerned. I just had this conversation with Ramsey. Thank you, Ramsey, for keeping us on the air today, as always. They're concerned about Darren Peterson's health and the legs.
Yeah.
I've been assuming that a lot of that is precautionary, and I don't know if it's safe to assume that. I've been assuming that Darren Peterson's people, his representatives, have said, look, the most important thing for you right now is to make sure you're healthy. You could be the number one pick. That's life-changing stuff. You're going to make a ton of money no matter what, but you could be the first pick. So that's more important right now, or should be to you, than the welfare of the team, at least now. Now, if we get into the tournament and he's doing that, then that's a little trickier, but it also comes down to something that's unknowable for us, which is it like, you just have little twins there and you're just really being hyper cautious, or do you have issues in your hamstring?
I don't think that there's a difference because whether he plays in the tournament or not, because he's already supposed to be the number one pick unless DeBanza went crazy or Cam Boozer went crazy throughout, or somebody else went crazy throughout the tournament.
But wouldn't that say something about his desire to win?
It depends. It depends on who you ask. I think people would say he's talented enough. I don't care because I don't think he's got any connection to Kansas, going back to the good players from colleges. I look at that guy play and, he's going to Kansas and that's where he chose to go. But it does not look like he has any type of old school connection to Kansas. When you see, Michael Irvin on the sidelines with the belt for University of Miami, a lot of these guys, I don't, and this is a larger conversation too. I don't know if any of these dudes have that type of connection to their schools anymore.
Yeah, that's why it always makes me laugh when it's March Madness time and you got two NBA players and their teammates and their teams are playing each other and they got some bet.
Right.
My school's going to beat your school.
Yeah.
You were there 3 months, maybe.
Right. And I don't think they're going to even do that anymore. Those days are going to be done. You're going to have, these guys go to Diego Pop. They got 12 schools to bet against. Hey, you went to my second school. I'm betting you against my third school. So it's not even the same anymore.
It's like Ramsey with his favorite team.
It literally. That's where Ramsey's in the portal right now.
The fan portal.
We're just giving you a hard time, Ramsey.
That's right.
Shout out the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Raider fan, of your potential new coach?
I like it, but I guess anything could happen because it's, not officially done yet because obviously his season isn't done, but I believe I like it. It's not
NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero reported over the weekend the Raiders are zeroing in on Seattle OC Clint Kubiak to be their next head coach. And I think the Seattle GM even said during an interview, said, oh, yeah, well, he's done a good job, but, Clint's going to the Raiders. So
right.
I don't think there's any question. It's just not official.
I wonder, when I watched that offense, we've talked about it before, it looks easy. That's no disrespect to Sam Darnold, but we've said the same thing, kind of similar to what the Niners are doing, where you're scheming guys, and obviously they have Jackson Smith and Jigba, so he schemes himself as well. But you're going to have to get Fernando Mendoza. I wonder what the Raiders do on the wide receiver market. Do they just try to trade for someone? I don't think A.J. Brown wants to be in Vegas based on the timeline, but they're going to have to draft the wide receiver. They got plenty of problems, don't get me wrong. But I don't know. Besides Brock Bowers, I know they've made some kind of decisions there. It feels like they need to go get a number one if they really want to get this thing rolling. And Kubiak wants to kind of copy what's going on in Seattle.
Mm-hmm. The old zone stretch offense.
Yeah. I mean, they got their running back in Genty, and they got Brock Bowers. So all they need is a pure number one receiver, which maybe they don't need that this season, to be honest. Maybe they waited out.
The Mendoza line, their offensive line, some are calling it the Mendoza line.
Yeah.
That needs help. That needs work.
You got to prioritize that. Your wide receivers, like we've kind of mentioned, you can find a wide receiver at some point. Just don't draft the next Keon Coleman. But you can find somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy about it.
I have to say this as we get ready for the Super Bowl, and we both said, we'll watch, of course, just not feeling that excitement. Maybe I'm just not bought into either team, but looking at how New England has gotten here, and I'm not a New England fan, how they've gotten here and how Drake May has developed to the player that he appears to be right now, despite a lot of, changes.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know who, he deserves most of the credit, but, we talk a lot about Alex Smith. Oh, he had different coordinators every year. And look what Drake May's been through, and he looks like he may be an MVP candidate this year. It's remarkable.
Only in 2 years, though,
Mm-hmm.
right? He had Mayo the first year, and then yeah, but it's not. He hasn't been thrown around and they got it right. With
I know it's not
Vrabel.
like Alex Smith.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys. I mean, even Darnold. Some of these guys, they've had rough goes. Drake May,
yeah, but it's a less than ideal set of circumstances.
Even
for
Trevor
developing
Lawrence.
quarterbacks.
Trevor Lawrence, he's been thrown around and Urban Meyered. So yeah, I hear you, and good for him. But they got out early. They didn't run with Mayo for 2 years and then go to Vrabel. But I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do if they win. I don't know if Drake May is going to be the name. He's the sexy name, but he hasn't played sexy in the playoffs.
I saw somewhere, maybe it was the Schmeling Miles Casino, that Super Bowl MVP favorite is Sam Darnold.
That's awesome.
Because he's the quarterback on the team that's probably going to win.
Yeah, I do. You know what I'm excited to watch? Because I can't remember if Brock Purdy ran a 40, and I haven't looked at what Drake May's 40 is. But one thing that we've always talked about is Brock's escapability. I don't know if Drake May has that. He's just kind of a bigger dude. I don't think he's probably not as big as Josh Allen, but he's a big dude and he can move. I'm excited to watch because Brock, you never see Brock. That's when I knew Seahawks were real. When Brock started to try to wiggle, and that first game, the second time they played in the regular season, and he was not wiggling at all, that's when I thought, oh, Seattle's really about that life. I want to see how elusive, how much Josh Allen Drake May has, how slippery he is, because the Seahawks, they get to you. So if Drake is able to stay upright and still, get yards and stay able to throw and things like that, I'd say, okay, this guy's a real deal because the Seahawks defense does not play.
We are 1 day, 18 hours, 4 minutes, and now 7 seconds away from the NBA trade deadline. Today was crazy.
Not done.
We kind of dodged all the heat, other than we did have the official announcement on the
I'm getting a text. I can feel it in my bones.
Tomorrow, things are going to be hopping. We hope you can join us for that. Stick around. We got golf to go coming up next, and we'll talk to you tomorrow here. Drive Guys, Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger,